Alright, let's do this thing. See if we can actually get something going on here. Alright, we might be streaming. We might not be streaming. Hey, Pete's in the house. Hopefully, 4K is in the house. Hopefully you gentlemen can hear me. I am flying blind right now. Ugh. My previews are toast, just like the quarterback. Wait, I think I might have something kicking here. Might be able to see what I'm doing. Hey, there we go. I think I got a bad connection tonight, but we'll work our way through it. We're going to go vintage, DSL style. Or actually, we'll go dial up. Be all pixels, baby. Thanks for popping in, gentlemen. We'll kind of shoot the shite for a little bit while I wait for this stream to get better. Good to see you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see, it looks like I am buffering like a... Ooh, I got okay. I'll take okay. Buffering like I'm taking buffering. A little tired tonight. It's been a crazy week, but we're going to try and power through anyways. We're going even a little louder tonight. So hopefully every week I'll get a little louder until we're at like Motorhead levels. And then finally like match the volume on my regular videos. Yeah, I just see the little circle going on for infinity. But yeah, I've been doing an ass ton of work, especially in this room and just around the house and everything like that. So I haven't had a lot of time to sit down and relax. And when I have been, I've been watching a lot of LD. So I haven't gotten a lot in the mail this week. So in lieu of tons of pickups, I'll just show what LDs I've been watching this week. SF Marine's in the house. Melinda's in the house. Cheers, everybody. 56K is the way. And also Pinhead. He is also the way. Or so he tells me. Good to see everybody. Welcome back to another Thursday. And yeah, I'm just going to hang out until I fall asleep. We'll see what happens. I've been up late watching Laserdiscs every night. Usually, like late at night at bed, I'll like do because I usually use my LDS1, which is a single-sided player, and I'll use the side breaks as an excuse to fall asleep. But last night I was so like hooked on the flick that I ended up powering through the whole thing. So kept me up till like 1 in the morning, which isn't really that bad. But oh, nice, Melinda actually got the notice I was on. It's good to know that some of this stuff is actually working. I think Monsieur Mike was asking about getting notifications for the streams and all that stuff. Hopefully we can actually get like some mediocre quality going on. Yes, Pinhead will indeed tear your soul apart. Yeah. I always wanted to like have that as an intro, or like intro to a song, or intro to like a band arriving on stage or something like that. I'm sure tons of people have done it before. But back in the day, I always wanted that. My band used to use the a bunch of Lost Boys stuff. We used to use the Gerard McMahon, the Cry Little Sister song, also known as like G Mac Money or something. He changes his name all the time, but the original Cry Little Sister. We used to use that as our entry music, and then we had a song on our demo tape with Michael getting told by David the score, you must feed and all that stuff. Yeah, classic. Let me make sure I got power over here. Alright, so I can't see what's going on my end, so hopefully it's just working better out there in the Ethernet, the ether. Hopefully you guys can see some stuff. I did not hear about the black hole photo. You're going to have to tell me about that, or I'm going to have to Google that later. Ooh, I'm intrigued. Cushing in the house. What's up? More pushing for the pushing. Good to see. Alright, Pete already threw out a hot topic. Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Overall, I'd go Nightmare. Just because I think consistency, like for film to film, like Friday Part 3 is near and dear to me, and Part 4 is near and dear to me. But I think consistently, I dug them. Oh, I just jumped up here. I'm going back. Going back down here. But anyways, yeah, I saw most of the Nightmare movies in the theaters. I think consistently I enjoyed them all. At least, Dream Child was kind of ass, but what have you. But I even liked New Nightmare, even though that's really not that scary after a certain while. But I like the whole postmodernism and everything. But, alright, so we'll go on Nightmare. 4K was watching some, Snapper Case Batman Returns, and the audio was fantastic, being the transfer was from an LD Master. Submarine, now I need to watch The Lost Boys. Yes, you do. Everyone used to, in my household, would watch The Lost Boys on a regular basis. It's funny, I was talking about that, having seen Us, and there's a Lost Boys reference almost immediately in Us. And I was like, oh, nice. In fact, right when I saw that Santa Cruz was a location, I was like, he's going to work into some sort of reference to Santa Cruz being the shooting location of Santa Carla from Lost Boys. And sure enough, right away, there's a reference. And I was thinking about how that movie, like that and like skateboard culture, like really influenced like my worldview, and me and my friends, like we watched The Lost Boys and like the skate video, the Search for Animal Chin, like on a nearly daily basis, and pretty much had ourselves convinced, even though we were in New England, that we were from Santa Cruz. So, I love that stuff. Sorry for actually, totally lost out for a minute there. Supposedly we're back in. We shall see. No data. Yeah. According to this, I'm connected, but according to this, I'm not connected. Melinda got the spinning wheel of death. Anybody back? Pete got the spinning wheel of death. Man, yeah, my stream keeps going to red tonight. I don't know what is going on. The neighbors are watching too much porn or something. Supposedly I'm green. But, yeah, might have to dump my settings. Thursdays are usually nice and good. Yeah, let's, looks like everybody's back in. Sorry, this might be a really, really choppy, like, robot night. Unfortunately, I need to get a better cable modem. Porn in 4K will do that, right? So what were we talking about? Something about Lost Boys, and then I got distracted. Anyways, by the stupid death of my internet. No good. Still says no data, but doesn't matter what it says, as long as you guys are seeing something. That's all that matters. Alright, hopefully this will sort itself out after some time. I blame Moiki. Moiki's out there somewhere causing this. Hopefully he'll show up. Alright, so yeah, what did I pick up this week? Not much of anything, but I got a couple things in the mail. And we'll go vintage first. This was a little surprise from the one, the only Cushing, and it's actually my first release in this format. So I guess now I have to get a player. It is a beta tape of Thunderball, CBS Fox rendition. So probably 1983-ish, yeah. So it's got the sweet beta tape there, in case you didn't figure it out. I also love the little windows there, and yeah, got some kick-ass beta Thunderball action in pan and scan. But I don't have a player, so I gotta get that. I do love how kick-ass the spine is, though. It's like Thunderball, baby, in your face. And yeah, so mega thanks to the one and the only Ryan for hooking me up with this. And what else do we get in the mail? Just some new Blu-ray 4K kind of stuff. We got some sick beats next door. Got the Disney Anniversary Edition Little Mermaid 4K. I actually haven't taken the shrink off of this sucker yet, but I will. And I got the Disney Movie Club exclusive Little Mermaid 2 Electric Boogaloo and Little Mermaid Ariel's Beginning. So, yeah. Just on Blue. No 4K action on that. And, yeah, that's about it. I've been just saving up my pennies for Record Store Day, which is this weekend. I don't know if anybody else out there is going to Record Store Day if you're vinyl collectors. And some of the stores are having some actually pretty badass sales. I know the Archive's having a good sale, and they've got like half off of 4K. Got my Electric Boogaloo. They got like half off, I think, VHS and Laserdisc, and like 10 and 20% off some other things. Ryan's going yep for that 3 a.m. start time. Newbury Comics near me used to have a lot of sales for Record Store Day for all their other merchandise too, but they really stopped doing that. It's usually just Record Store Day titles only. So I'll probably hit there for the 8 o'clock open. Not going to get too crazy. I usually roll in whenever, and then I end up getting most of the stuff I want to get anyway, so that's cool. It's worked out so far. I have missed a few things because of it, but I don't know. I try not to get myself stressed out too much and wake up at 3 in the morning, but if there is some crazy-ass, like, limited edition 100 copies thing going on, then that's pretty cool. My band has actually played Record Store Day at Newbury Comics a couple of years in a row. I kind of miss doing that. We do the acoustic Tiffany experience, crank it up in the mall, and just hang out with, like, people on the escalators behind us. There's some videos on YouTube of that, I think, still. That was fun stuff. And the other cool thing was that the people in the store would, like, help me, save my stuff that I wanted to get because they knew I'd be playing when the Record Store Day was happening, so they'd kind of hold stuff aside so I could at least pick up the cool things. Melinda's got 2 things on the list. Throwing elbows to get that. Yeah, man, picking up change. Throwing elbows, Wall of Death time. Get what you want. I'm definitely going to gun for the Jeff Buckley. There's a live Matthew Sweet I want to get. I might get the Alien Weaponry LP just because you got to support those. Like, kids are like in their teens from New Zealand, and just like kind of groove metal stuff like Sepultura. But I just like supporting those guys because they're like 16, 17 or something. And what else is on the list? Maybe the Devo box. There's like a box set of the first 5 or 6 Devo albums. We'll see if I want to pull for that. 4K is doing some Ben-Hur on Sunday. Not 70mm DCP, but should be great to watch on the big screen. Yeah, man, enjoy that. I've never seen Big Hur on anything beyond I think the biggest I've seen it is, I don't know if I've watched it again on my projector, so it might have been my old 43-inch Sony when I got that DVD set, like back in like 2000, 2001. And, yeah, that would be cool. Pete's asking, favorite animated Disney film? Still probably Beauty and the Beast. Like, that's my jam. When I was a kid, I wanted to go see all the reissues. I think 101 Dalmatians was my favorite when I was a kid. But Beauty and the Beast is my, that's my jam. Oh, yeah, Melinda was talking about the Crow soundtrack. I was eyeing that, too. There was a lot of soundtracks. Lost in Translation reissue. There's a South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut, like, box set or something. Oh, is there another Typo Negative Bloody? Because I remember there was a Typo Negative Bloody Kisses box from the Black Friday sale, and I totally lost out on it. And then I thought maybe somebody would restock it like a week later. Sometimes they have some like pickup, things, but I never did snag that. Oh, Office Space OST too. Yeah, I might get Lost in Translation. Man, I would love to get that Crow soundtrack. Damn, I'm trying to like thin down my list of essentials. And, yeah, there's like a Peter Gabriel rated PG was on there. I think I cut the Roxy Music remastered, or it was like remixes. But it's like, I guess remixes that they asked for, but then for like the big like first album special edition, and then they didn't end up liking them, so they kind of kicked them to the curb, and now they're just dumping them on vinyl. But, yeah, that one's a little pricey, and it sounds like, oh, the cops are coming. It's a little pricey, and it doesn't seem like it's really good. So I might hold off on that one. And, yeah, what else is on the list? There's a couple others. Oh, I got to get the Mastodon one. There's like a charity for their manager who died. So I'm going to pick that up. I think that's just like a 10-inch. And, yeah, a few other things. We shall see what I can actually get a hold of. Cinemark doing Fathom events. Yes, my Cinemark does Fathom events too, but they've been cheaping out lately. They dropped riff tracks from the Fathom events, which kind of pissed me off. Because I love going to see all the riff tracks live. Pete's digging Lion King, Fantasia, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pinocchio. I've not seen them all yet. I mean, there's that early 90s period where it was that new golden age of Disney animation. Good stuff. Ryan's grabbing Robert Plant, Fate of Nations. Nice. I was just talking about Robert Plant today. I think somebody was bringing up Alison Krauss, and somehow Robert Plant got brought up. Damn, 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Anybody doing the 22 film marathon for the lead up to Avengers? I know it's only happening in a limited amount of locations. I know it's in New York, so maybe 4K can check that out. But it goes from like Tuesday at 10 a.m. straight through until I think the Endgame screening happens at 5 o'clock on Thursday. Oh, Pete, yeah, the cops are coming after you. They're going to find you. 7 married 3. I have actually a signed picture of John somewhere. I think it's downstairs. That might show up in my room tour video number 2, maybe. I think something like that. So yeah, what have I been watching? Well, keep it music related. I just finished watching this. I'm going to talk metal for a hot second. Oh, come on. Don't tell me I crapped out again. Yeah. This is a bad streamy stream. Yeah, according to this, we're still streaming. It is acting funky, though. Sorry, you had to see my face all up close. And I got my special finger, so you don't have to look at my my nasty nail anymore. Yeah. Yeah. I've not seen Shazam yet. I'm gonna catch up with that hopefully later in the week or so. I've been really slacking ever since I saw Us. Yeah, I got my tickets obviously for Endgame, but ooh, oh, everyone's got Circle of Death. Tonight is the night of the Circle of Death. Man, these damn kids and their Netflix. I don't even have kids, but they're watching Netflix. I even kicked my wife off of Netflix. I'm like, no more Frankie and Grace for you, or Grace and Frankie, or whatever. We'll see if everybody gets back on board. Damn. Alright, Pete's on board. We got some peeps. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I got gremlins in the system. You know how that happens. Joe Dante must have been over here, dropping gremlins on me. Yeah, my stream keeps going from red to orange to green to red to orange to green to red to orange to green. It's doing the spaz out there. Anyways, I just finished watching this. It's old as crap. Well, this came out 2008, but it's Roadrunner United DVD. You guys enjoy Vertigo while I talk. I don't know if this will actually come through. But it was an anniversary concert from 2005 in New York. And where was it? Where's the location? The hell? Nokia Theater. But it was one of these things where they celebrated the 25th anniversary of Roadrunner Records by having like every band or members of every band possible for this huge 2-hour jam fest. It's kind of a counterpart to a like an all-star album they made. But holy crap, some badass stuff. I just finished watching. It's like 25 tracks on here. So Sepultura stuff, Machine Head, Annihilator, King Diamond, Merciful Fate, Obituary, Stormtroopers of Death, and tons of East Coasters on here. So shout outs to Jamie Josta and Mike D'Antonio and Jesse Leach, Howard Jones. Yeah, lots of cool New Englanders and lots of New York guys on here too. So, oh yeah, Joel Stretzel. Shout outs to Joel and his brother Tyler. Yeah, everybody and their mother. Scotty Ann. So, I had a good time with this. 2 discs. It's got like a big documentary. And like all about the making of it. And they had to like learn a butt ton of songs. Cool stuff. Oh, cool. Nobody's catching, like, even full sentences. Excellent. Let's see. Oh, Submarine's got squirrels in the attic. It's like the sequel to Flowers in the Attic, but way scarier. Submarines. I thought my internet was bad, and I live in the woods. That's the funny thing. Like, I got full-on kick-ass cable internet, but it just gets possessed every once in a while and does its own thing. Yeah, according to it, it's working fine. Yeah, let me actually try and stop and then restart on my own and see what happens. So bear with me. I'm gonna. Boop-a-doop-boo. No, it's still doing the thing where it's cycling non-stop. So I can't get a steady quality connection apparently. Oh, now it says good for a second. Alright, I'm just going to keep talking. You guys are going to get the full Burger King drive-thru experience. Oh, Lawrence of Arabia is coming to Fathom in September. I missed, there was some 70mm screenings of that at my local art house place, and I never did get a chance to check any of those out. So, yeah, I just did the restart thing, but we'll see how that shakes out. I never did watch The Quiet Man box. I have it on the shelf, but I am going to watch that sucker at some point. Alright, so while everybody's watching Robot Sam, I'm going to show like what I threw on the LDS one this week. First off was Jim Jarmusch's Night on Earth, and I'd never seen this flick before, so what came in? Oh, it was coming out on Criterion this week on Blu-ray. So I thought, what the hell? I own that. Let me watch that. So I picked up this off the shelf and threw it in, and had a blast with it. If you haven't seen it, it is a set of stories all taking place across, well, not across the globe, just North America and Europe, but all at the same time, but different time zones, obviously. So there's one story in Los Angeles, and one in New York, and then one in Rome, and one in France, and then one in Helsinki. And it's a mix of stuff. It's billed as the best American comedy of the year, but comedy. It's an art house film. Yeah, there's a Roberto Benigni thing that's pretty broad, and it's kind of like a one-note joke thing, but it's still pretty fun, anyways. My favorite ones probably were the New York one, which was pretty badass, and that one was actually like legit funny. Giancarlo Esposito is in there, Armin Mueller-Stahl, and Rosie Perez, and that was good. And actually, the LA one with Winona Ryder wasn't bad either. But yeah, probably New York, and Helsinki was it was a little darker, though it had some funny moments in it too. But yeah, France and New York were my favorite. France had Isaac de Vankele in there, and yeah, he was in Beatrice Dahl, and yeah, that one actually kicked ass. It's kind of like the taxi scene from Pulp Fiction. I'm pretty sure Quentin ripped this off pretty heavily because it's like the Esmeralda Villalobos Butch conversation, but like spread across an entire film. And yeah, 1991 too, so it's like ahead of its time. It's got the feel of like a lot of 90s flicks like Smoke and Until the End of the World, etc. So Life is Beautiful. That is a tough flick, man, mostly because of how kind of upbeat and fun the first half of it is, and then when it gets dark, and you're like, holy crap, it's like even more of a gut punch. And then I figured they'd keep the Jarmusch going, and the next night I watched Down by Law. This is the previous one, Night on Earth, was I think a Technodisc pressing, and it had a little bit of speckling, but really not bad. Looked pretty good. And Down by Law is a nice release from, 96, actually. Strangely not letterboxed, but, not really a scope film anyways. And unfortunately pressed by Sony, DADC, USA, in Terre Haute, Indiana. And it's pretty snowy, not unwatchable, but it had a little bit of speckling throughout on both sides. And yeah, Tom Waits, man, good stuff. John Lurie, Roberto Benigni again. Actually, like one of his best performances. He's just so like, he's funny, but he's actually a little more tame at times in it. And, yeah, actually really kicked ass. I think overall I still like Night on Earth more, just because I'm a sucker for those 90s style art house flicks. And then the next night also has Isaac DeMacaulay in there. I just grabbed this off the shelf. One of the things I got in a lot about a year ago. And always just wanted to watch Nicholas Roeg's TV version of Heart of Darkness. And never read the Joseph Conrad original. And, yeah, I figured I'd check this out because I never saw it when it aired on TNT in the 90s. And it was pretty interesting, actually. It wasn't bad. It gets panned heavily, especially from Joseph Conrad mega fans. But, you know, having just come at the story via Apocalypse Now, it was kind of cool seeing this, which, you know, it legitimately takes place in the late 1800s as opposed to Vietnam. And it's got Tim Roth and John Malkovich. John Malkovich playing Kurtz, which is a pretty thankless role. I mean, the entire movie, everyone just builds up Kurtz as this mythological man. And, man, it's such a thankless task to actually bring him to life. And it's like, that's almost the part of the movie that always loses steam in any adaptation because it can never match the setup. But yeah, it was actually pretty cool, and it kind of and like very, very like bizarrely what's the word? Like ambiguous for a TV movie. Yeah, but I actually enjoyed it quite a lot because I think if I had seen it on TNT, I probably would. I really enjoyed a lot of Jungle Madness movies around the time, like Mosquito Coast and what else? There was Mountains of the Moon. There's another one like that too. So I think I would have dug it back then. So I dug it now. So I watched that. Yeah, Apocalypse Now is one of my childhood favorites. I was just thinking about how Farley's Nerd Cave is in. What is up? Aaron Johnson is in too. What is up again? And yeah, so what was I talking about? Something. Apocalypse Now. Yeah, I was talking about when I was a kid and my dad was a manager of a video chain. And it's one thing I just realized recently is the kind of history of the video stores in the state in particular is not told. It's not saved anywhere. It's just kind of lost to time. There was a couple like bigger chains like the Video Galaxy chain and everything like that. And but in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a video rental store franchise called Video Studio, and that's where my dad worked. And the guy who owned it was out of Avon, Connecticut, and he had a bunch of the stores, and he was like an early adopter of the whole video rental scene. And I used to hang out there, and I was a kid. I caught Apocalypse Now, actually probably when it was first on HBO. I conned my grandfather into let me watch it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm cool. My parents said I can watch this because he was watching me, and I was like, yeah, they said it's okay. And I was totally just obsessed with Apocalypse Now, and I remember I was like 8 or 9 or something, and I'd always hang out at the store all day when I was there with my dad. And this woman and her kid came in and was asking about movies. And I remember I'd seen Being There, and it bored the hell out of me. So I'm like, well, don't get Being There, but you can get the whatever Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny like mashup movie. There was that one that came out in the 70s or late 70s, early 80s, the Looney Tunes movie, and I was recommending that. And she's like, okay. And then I'm like, but you really should get Apocalypse Now. And she's like, okay, so you think this movie's good? And she's like looking at the box. I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. That's the one you want to get. He was saying he prefers Full Metal Jacket over Platoon. I probably do as well, especially the first half. Hamburger Hill, classic. I have not seen Leon the Professional on 4K. I just have it on Blu-ray and DVD and Laserdisc. It actually looks great on Laserdisc too. So, Esther Marine giving a shout out for We Were Soldiers. Yeah, I've not. No, I haven't even seen that. So, we'll check that out. And then last night I threw on Anthony Waller's flick, Mute Witness, which this is a really weird flick. It's like a movie that this guy created. He thought about setting it in Chicago, but then he moved to Germany, so he was going to film it in Germany, like standing in for Chicago. And then this Russian dentist got involved and was like, "Hey, come to Moscow, and then we'll shoot it there." So they shot it, and it kind of works well because it's about this woman that is on a film set as the makeup artist, and her sister and her sister's boyfriend, who's also the director, are these kind of fish out of water Americans filming in a Russian film studio. And it's like Hitchcockian slash De Palma-esque, De Palmatic, but also grimy, kind of like, you know, Hostel before Hostel, or 8mm before 8mm, because she quickly, like, oh, come on! What do you mean you're not getting a stream? Yeah, you're getting a stream. You know you're getting a stream. But, well, you guys are getting the circle of death. But yeah, she quickly realizes that there's a snuff film going on late at night, and she's mute. And I love the cover art here, totally a ripoff of the Silence of the Lambs artwork. But it's, yeah, the guys, Anthony Waller's going for this really kinetic Sam Raimi vibe, and sometimes he's just trying too hard, and then sometimes he's pulling it off. And like the music, who did the music? Wilbert Hirsch. Sounds good, but then sometimes it's really, really hokey. So it's weird. It keeps kind of going on the rails, then off the rails, and then the kind of snuff film angle kind of gets dropped part of the way through the film for like a bigger, yeah, MacGuffin kind of situation. But I don't know. It's got some zazz, man. It's got zazz. It kind of keeps you, like, the first half hour is just tour de force stuff. It just ratchets up the tension. Really, really edge of your seat kind of stuff. And then it lets off the gas a little bit, but it's just, you just can't stop watching it. Like, even when it does get a little hokey at times. And then fascinatingly, Alec Guinness shows up in one part. And I'm like, Alec Guinness is in this. What's that all about? And the director actually ran into him in Germany in 1985 and was like, "Hey, can Moikey's in the house." He's like, "Can we shoot a little bit of the movie?" And they just like threw him in the back of a Rolls Royce and shot it all like in one afternoon. And then the guy held onto it for over a decade, and then threw it in this movie. And apparently, Alec Guinness said he was never paid, and he thought it was a student film, and he got ripped off. So pretty funny stuff. But yeah, weird flick. Unfortunately, it is a deluxe widescreen presentation from Columbia TriStar Home Video, and that means that, as they usually do, they relied on Sony DADC USA to press it, and I don't think there's an alternate pressing, and it is pretty rotty. Watchable, but rotty. The second side was better than the first side, but if I find some more copies, I'll look for a clean one, because it was fun enough. It was interesting. I don't even think there's a Japanese release of this. This might be the domestic might be the only one. So I watched all those suckers. All right, what's going on with Moikey and all these guys? Oh, Moikey's saying, "We're soldiers" sucks. Now that we're fighting about Star Trek movies and stuff like that. All right, cool. I promised Dean69 I was going to answer a couple questions that he had dropped like weeks ago, and I totally failed. So before my internet dies again, I figured I'll do that. He was asking if Cocoon is available only in pan and scan, and Cocoon is indeed not only available in pan and scan. It was reissued in 1996 in the Fox widescreen, Japanese pressing. Yeah, really nice, actually. Unfortunately, Cocoon The Return, which is a later movie, actually is only available in, well, probably not all pan and scan, but some sort of weird variation of open matte, because it's 1.85 to 1, but I'm sure probably some of the special effects scenes were hard matted. But yeah, that one is only in, I think there's a letterbox edition in maybe France, like a PAL disc. But yeah, domestically, it is, I know, this artwork is kick-ass on Laserdisc. Yeah, really nice stuff. Recommend picking this up if you are a fan of the film. It's funny, thinking about 80s flicks that, like, in the wake of E.T. and Indiana Jones and all these big movies, like, every summer in the 80s had these tentpole, films that all felt like essential back in the day. And And over the years, like, you know, Cocoon has kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit. Like, this was like a big kick-ass movie when it came out, and then, yeah, it just kind of simmered over time. So, yeah, maybe it's the Gutenberg effect. I don't know. But yeah, that is, and then, his other questions were, have I checked out Dunderklumpen? And I still have not beyond the first, like, 10-15 minutes, because I did, when I first got it, I popped in then to see what it was about, because it's a Swedish animated live-action, kind of like Pete's Dragon film. And I was like, I gotta see how this works. And Moikey says Cocoon is lame. You're lame. It's about the people that you buy Laserdiscs from. Old people. Moikey wants to know what my favorite Chinese food dish is. Unfortunately, it's not a dish. It's just fried dumplings, baby. I will eat fried dumplings until the cows come home and get turned into fried dumplings. Well, actually, it's pork. But and then crab rangoon is up there. Beef and broccoli is up there. General Chow's chicken is up there. Sweet and sour chicken's up there. Yeah, it's all good. I can rock some Chinese food for sure. But I mean, heads above, like, if I had to eat nothing but dumplings every day for the rest of my life, I'd probably be fine. Let's see, we got a red stream. Come on, give me a green stream. This is the worst live stream ever. Oh well. Charthang Dog was wondering if I'm still using PS3 as your main Blu player. Yeah, believe it or not, I am. I never picked up an Oppo because I just can't really afford an Oppo. And like the Oppos that I want to get, you know, or would want to get, are a little bit higher up, and it's just not in the cards at the moment. So the PS3 is just still going strong. I've got it out. I never put it in anything, so you know it fires up its fan a lot, but it's never burned itself out like everybody else I know who had theirs. I've got an old original fat PS3, and yeah, I just kept it out in the open, and that seemed to do all the, you know, knock on wood, make all the difference. Still going strong, and knock on wood. And I do have a Sony Blu-ray player and a Samsung UHD player as well. But at some point I got to get something multi-region. But yeah, I'd always meant to get an Oppo, and it's just one of those things. They're just really expensive. And yeah, I just haven't really felt the need to drop that much money on a Blu-ray player. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how much longer it lasts for. And Pete was asking about Japanese LD box set of E.T. Ever thought about getting it? You know, I never have picked up any E.T. beyond the Universal Signature Collection one. I'm pretty good with that, actually. I haven't checked out the Japanese one. I know the American original box set is, I think the audio tracks are switched, so it's like left is right and right is left. So, yeah. Whatever. So hopefully that didn't get ported over there. But yeah, no, your shitty internet's not, my shitty internet's doing all the crap. I might just call it quits early tonight because it doesn't seem like this is working. But nah, yeah, it's just Turd City tonight. Sorry. Or maybe I'll shut down for a minute and like reboot my entire computer and light my router on fire. But yeah, so I don't know too much about the Japanese LD box for ET. But no, I've never seen Hi Mom with De Niro, directed by De Palma. I actually have the De Palma De Niro box set from Arrow, but I haven't watched any of those yet, so I'm interested to check those out. Pete was asking what anime songs get me pumped. Alright, it's pretty nerdy. Obviously Tank by Seatbelts, aka Yoko Kanno, from Cowboy Bebop. Tons of Yoko Kanno stuff from Macross Plus. Any of those jams. And, alright, cool. I will reboot in a hot minute. And what else? What are some of the other ones? Old Dirty Pair stuff, like the stuff in the Dirty Pair movie, and the Russian roulette theme song. That stuff gets me pumped. But Oh man, I hate to say it, but I was just rewatching Macross Frontier. Don't tell the Maison Otaku guys, since the the main theme from Macross Frontier is like stuck in my head for the week. Uh, so, not cool at all. And what were the other questions? Oh, Dane69 wanted to know about other than Dunderklumpen, Blade Runner. What's one like the best to get for LD to first watch? And it's a toss-up between the Criterion Collection, CAV, or CLV. Though CAV has a 3M pressing that can go rotting. There's a Pioneer USA pressing that's good at the CAV. And the CLV one is really nice too. That and the director's cut have a little bit different, like, I think the Criterion's a little bit more colorful, but they both have stellar picture quality. It's really just down to whether or not you want to watch the original theatrical or the international version of the theatrical with the narration, or if you just want to see the director's cut for the first time. I personally am a director's cut guy, so I would recommend that CAV director's cut, but we'll see. No, Kyle was saying Hi Mom's going to make me a bigger De Palma fan than before, too. That's good, because I'm, like, totally love-hate with De Palma. Like, half his stuff I love and half his stuff I hate, so we'll see. All right. We're going to reboot. All right, see if it'll work. All right, everybody. I'll be back. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Still getting like 75% drop frames. I don't know what the hell is going on. See if this gets any better. Yeah, it's getting a little better. See if it can hold its own. See if you guys are getting anything. Nice. Looks like blurry pixel crap on my end. What's up, everybody? We'll see if we can make lemonade out of this pile of lemons. Yeah, it's a little better. Down to 25% drop frames. All right, much better, says 4K. Nice. Well, hopefully we can keep this going. We'll see. Yeah, no spinny wheels. Good. Spinny chair. Oh, volume is lower. God dang it. Am I still at, no, I should still be pumped up, according to this. I still have my microphone on my chest, so that should be good, but I don't know. We'll see. There's some director's cuts that I don't like. You know, this is not really a director's cut, but the redo of Apocalypse Now, it's interesting, and it's funny because there was a period when I was dying to see the bootleg long cut that was making its rounds on VHS that Film Threat reported on. So I was dying to see the bit with the Playboy bunnies and everything like that, and the French plantation and all that stuff. But yeah, having it in the movie didn't ultimately make it that much better, and slowed it down a little bit too. Even the theatrical cuts does start to get a little episodic at like the other side of the Dolong Bridge. Like it's just like attacked by arrows, attacked by people throwing shoes at them, and it's just like attack. But yeah, I've seen the theatrical cut tons of times, and I still love that. Kingdom of Heaven director's cut, I got that on Blu-ray. I saw that in the theaters too, but yeah, that's one I enjoyed. But director's cuts are always, like, in my head, like, gonna be tied to Jim Cameron, just because he was the guy that made it into a thing for me. And seeing the Aliens special edition for the first time, and especially the Abyss, that's Aliens. Like, I could watch the theatrical cut. I don't, just because I don't know. I'm just forever hooked on the bonus scenes there, and I'll actually miss them now if I don't like the stuff with Ripley's daughter and the autocannons and stuff. They're small, but I would definitely miss them if I was watching the movie without them. But yeah, the Abyss is, like, once I got the director's cut of that, never went back. Absolutely. And it's funny because it set the pace for all these DVDs that came out with the, you know, R-rated cuts and stuff. And so a lot of the quote-unquote director's cuts out there nowadays are just slightly longer, slightly unrated cuts or whatever. So it's not that amazing. Oh yeah, the original cut of Close Encounters. Though I do like the third variation. I like the theatrical cut. The special edition, you know, I have it on Laserdisc, probably around there-ish. But it was the third cut that came out in probably the 90s for the first time. I actually like that one a lot. So I like that close to, you know, around as much as the theatrical cut. So I can go either way on that front. Yeah, what other... Yeah, like the Terminator Salvation director's cut. Yeah, a lot of the director's cuts nowadays it's just bogus. It's nothing like, you know, when Cameron would drop a director's cut. You know, it was like a real deal. Yeah, there was a few other, like, more recent ones that I enjoyed, but trying to think. And sometimes I hate when they have the alternate cuts and it, like, takes away. Like, I got the not really an epic movie, but I got the Superbad Blu-ray, and I was pretty well obsessed with Superbad in the theaters. I saw it, like, probably about 4 times, and they kind of expanded on some content in some of the earlier school scenes, and, like, some of the lines changed because of it. So yeah, I think it like just loses a few things, like Jonah Hill saying, like, faux show, faux show, faux show, and things like that. But it's like my brain is permanently, like, attuned to hear that dialogue, and it's not there, and I'm like, what's going on? Same with the Talladega Nights director's cut. It dropped a really funny gag from earlier on in the film, and I was like, oh man, where was that funny bit that I was waiting for? And it's like, oh yeah, it's not there. But yeah, so director's cuts, yeah, it's always going to be Jim Cameron is the king of the director's cut. And yeah, the relationship with Roy is, man, he's an interesting character in Close Encounters. He is such a douche of a dad. It's great stuff. So selfish. It's great. 4K is the Warriors director's cut I don't like. Yeah, the Warriors. Love that flick. The beginning of the Warriors is, like, the most energetic, coolest thing ever. Like, it's just all the cuts back to them, the music and everything. Like, you're just ready for action. I'm just seeing that intro to the Warriors. Temporary scars through a little donation. Thank you very much, sir. That's see, that was a good thing I rebooted. I didn't know that was going to happen. So, all right, Melinda's got some coffee. 4K's getting a circle of death, so that's not good news. Oh, SF Marine's got the wheel back too. How are we doing over here? Yeah, I'm still dropping frames like I'm going out of style, but not as bad as before. Man, maybe that money Moiki sent my way I can get beefier internet. I'll hold on a second while you guys come back. Oh yeah, there was one other question that Dane69 had about cleaning Laserdiscs, and he asked that on the LDDB forum and on Laserdisc Forever on Facebook, and you're going to get a billion different answers. I've always been pretty simple and really not that really persnickety about cleaning my LDs. I just usually want to get like schmutz, fingerprints and stuff, and like weird caked on residue that I probably don't want to know what it is. That stuff I want to get off. And I usually just get a lint-free cloth and just have it damp, like just a little bit damp with just water. Strictly Sega in the house. What's going on? But yeah, and then I just kind of wipe like CDs from the edge on out, the inner hub edge on out, well, not on the label, and repeat until I've got the schmutz off. But if you have like scratches or something like that, that's where usually everybody is getting Novus cleaners, like the 1, 2, 3. Like each grade is a little bit more abrasive, so depending on the the depth of the gouge or whatever, you can buff it out a little bit. I haven't gone into fixing any gouges with Novus, but yeah, maybe at some point. But yeah, I've just Moiki says if it plays, don't clean it. So yeah, right. You can actually read through a lot of gunk for sure. And then sometimes the thumbprints will give you that little rolling, weird like speckle like line of static. But WHT movie channel from the early 80s. Yeah, classic. I remember all the classic, hopefully we're not dying out, the classic early 80s movie channel stuff. I used to rock Spotlight all the time. HBO was around since the dawn of time, but no, she's not streaming Netflix. So I told her this is actually me. Well, I'm not plugged in directly. I'm dealing with my router, but yeah, this is me hogging all the bandwidth myself, but apparently it's just nothing good tonight. Troy directors. You know, I never saw Troy in the theater, so I've only seen the director's cut. There's a few things like that, modern movies I've actually skipped seeing in theaters, and I got them Blu-ray on director's cut, and that's like my first time watching it. So there is that. You know, here's another one. I actually don't love, it's not a director's cut, but the long cut of Reanimator. I actually prefer the theatrical version. The long cut is, I don't know, it's a little more awkward at times. Like the bed discussion early on just goes on and on and on and on, and the whole like it does kind of the whole mesmerism aspect of it does tie in with the whole obsession with the mind and how to control the mind and everything like that. But I don't know. I think the theatrical cut of Reanimator just moves and it works fine. So yeah, that's another one where it's I don't mind the long cut, but I'm cool with just watching the original. Was there ever a time where you fancied yourself a home video and audio purist with movies, or did you never care about that stuff? Like purist in the way of the content I was watching, or more? Oh, all right. Pete also doesn't like more highbrow stuff, like we give Vincent a hard time about, or just about the purism, the purist aspect of the video and audio quality itself. Because I've always been, for the film aspect, I've always been a fan of trash cinema and cinema that's considered, not important or not awards worthy. And I've always wanted to stand up for that. Now there's enough people to stand up for it, but especially in my neck of the woods, anybody that's doing like radio or something like that is usually more cut from the NPR cloth, where you lavish as many adjectives as possible onto the I was actually thinking about this not too long ago too, with the award season coming through, about how everyone lavishes praise on these movies that they pretty much only exist to be award hog movies, and then they pretty much are forgotten about. So the movies that the critics like are all kind of like looking at each other about and patting themselves on the back about loving, like 4 years later, nobody cares about those movies. So yeah, like The Hours, like everyone was like giving that thing the biggest tongue job ever. They were sewing their tongue down the back of The Hours' trousers. Nobody cares about The Hours. Even the people that made that movie probably don't even care about that movie. I've never heard anybody except myself talk about The Hours in probably like 8 years. So yeah, all right. So no, Pete was actually talking about the movie itself, color, sound, and different cuts. Not really a purist per se. It's just kind of like what I like. Color, we kind of have been talking about this lately. I am pretty much of the mind that not many people can actually remember what, like, other than major colors, like what the color timing of a movie was that they saw in a theater like 20 years ago. It was more, I was thinking about brightness and contrast and stuff like that. There was a period where I was like, I'm going to remember. Actually, I did that with color a little bit too. I remember when I saw Elizabeth in the theaters, I was like, I'm going to remember this color. And there was a bit where there was some pageantry and a lot of like color guard kind of stuff going on, and there was this bright purple, like magenta fabric, and I'm like, I'm going to memorize this so that when it comes out on home video, I can see how good. At the time, I minded because that came out on DVD and LD. I've been thinking about getting the LD, but I ended up getting the DVD, and I'm gonna see if it's, because that purplish magenta is always the first color that gets really, really noisy in those NTSC signals. So I was like, I'm going to watch it on video and then see how it stands up against the theaters. And it's impossible. Like, everything is so different. Like, by the time you see it, like, the video look it's similar but different, and it's really just completely futility, an exercise in futility. And then the other one was Unbreakable. When that came out, there was a scene where Bruce Willis was investigating the train yard, like junkyard, and I remember thinking in the theater, oh, this is really dark. I'm going to memorize how dark this is and see if my brightness settings are the same when I get it on video. And yeah, you can't remember that stuff. Like, you see it on home video and it just looks different. It's set up thing, and that's the thing. There's so much of a variance in cinemas themselves. I mean, you might have a bulb that's new. You might have a bulb that's dying, depending on where you see it. You might have a projectionist that's using the wrong masking plate. So you might not be getting any kind of purity even in the theaters. So I mean, it's a moving target. But I remember hearing this big neighbors are kicking it up. I remember hearing this big thing on probably it was like a TED Talk or something about the mega fallibility of human memory, and especially sight, where there was a guy that was convicted of, I think it was like a child abduction or something like that, and it was at dusk. This car drove by, and then somebody like pinned it on this dude because they saw at that time like who this guy was and like the color of his cap and everything like that. And then they went back with scientists and they restaged the scene, and they realized that even like about a half an hour before that time of day, it is physically impossible for the human eye to make out that kind of detail from that distance and stuff like that. So I really, I kind of don't believe in, I mean, there might be some sort of like color, like, I don't know, like color savant thing going on. Maybe like there's some people that are like have like photographic memory or something to that effect. But I think just normally, I don't think the human brain remembers the color timing of a movie from 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Same thing with sound. Like, I mean, there is no way in hell I have memorized like what's going on in the surround channels in the theater from like even, I remember seeing surround sound movies in a movie theater, but there's never one like discrete, and like on the home theater, I've kind of heard discrete surround things that have kind of stuck out a little bit, but theater sound is, even when you're in the sweet spot, it's rarely, unless you're in a really great theater, it's rarely that good. But I don't ever recall hearing anything other than the overall like ambience and the score and everything. Like, I saw The Crow in the theater so many times that I had the entire score memorized, and I had most of the dialogue memorized. But yeah, not much in the way of like, oh, there's a guy that farts in the background in the right channel at like 23 minutes in. completely gone. I'm also bad with dialogue too. Like my favorite dialogue, like I'll remember the quote, but then when you go and say it, it's all the little kind of connective tissue that you're like, well, did they say it like this or did they say it like that? And I think a lot of people have that same thing too. You're like, yeah, oh, I know that quote, and then you say it and you're like, it's quite like that, and then you have to like Google it and you're like, oh, it's actually a little bit different. So I really don't believe in human memory, or at least my human memory. Temporary scars. When it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, which score do you trust more, the critics or the audience? Yeah, I don't really trust anybody's. I mean, I do appreciate the audience score, but sometimes nowadays it really doesn't matter because there's these whole like flash mob kind of bombing attempts from Reddit groups and everything like that try and trash the metrics. There was the whole thing with Captain Marvel and Rotten Tomatoes and all that stuff. So I mean, I think audience ratings used to mean something, but now it's too much of people that haven't even seen the movie trying to tank it because they've figured out a clever way to abuse the internet. So now it almost means nothing. But the audience score used to mean something. But yeah, I'm not gonna not watch something. I mean, though, when I am tripping across Amazon Prime or like Shudder or something like that, and horror movies, if I see like that 2-star horror movie, because the key is like that all those places have these shed loads of straight to video horror movies, and you never know what to watch. So if you see like, oh, that looks interesting by the poster, and then you see that like 1 star, you're like, oh, all right, well, maybe I still will check it out, but I'll check it out a little bit later. It is funny now. I was just talking about how Netflix watches you. It's like, in Soviet Russia, Netflix watch you. And that's totally how it works now. Netflix is programming you for people that don't, actually collect physical media, things like that. It's just you watch what's on Netflix. Bird Box was the ultimate, it was a captive audience. It was people that had Netflix that were on vacation or at home, had a lot of time to spare around the holiday season, and has free movie with Sandra Bullock. Like, would that movie have made like 60 million at the movie theaters? Probably not. But it's just there. So all these people that got Netflix, like my friends, are watching these really crappy straight-to-video movies that they would see at Blockbuster and walk past and pick up, whatever new hit is. But it's just because these streaming services are programming straight-to-video stuff for you and presenting it as your only choice. Everybody's just watching all this stuff. Like, John Cusack is in so many movies with Morgan Freeman called, like, The Bucket, that nobody's heard about. But everybody's watching it because it's on Netflix. In capitalist America, Netflix watches you. Exactly. You just... It's funny because I was watching Joe Rogan recently, and he was talking about how Amazon's got all these shows that nobody watches. It's like, well, yeah, because everybody has Netflix. If those shows were on Netflix, everybody would watch those shows. It's not that the shows on Amazon are any different or higher or lower quality. It's like there's good shows and bad shows on both. But it's like when I got a PlayStation, I got yelled at all the time because all my friends had an Xbox and I didn't have an Xbox. And they're like, get an Xbox. And I'm like, no. And they're like, but we gotta play together. And I'm like, well, I'll shed a tear. Like, I don't know, I'm having a good time by myself. And they're like, get an Xbox. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then years later they got a PlayStation and they're like, oh, okay, now we can play together. But same thing. I just like, people always say, get Netflix. And I watch some stuff on Netflix, but like, I don't really need it to validate my life. Mogies and the dreaded 2-star horror movie, right? And the poster art always looks, it either looks good or it looks like a Saw knockoff or something like that. First Man, I missed it because I suck. I do want to see that. I also want to go see Apollo 11 before it disappears. That's hot on my list as well. SF Marine did not like First Man, so no, I'm not going to go see it. I'll let the audience speak for me. No, I'm going to check it out. Hard Rain, John Cusack, and Morgan. Oh, Hard Rain was Christian Slater. I remember that because they showed the trailers for that in the theaters way early, and it was called The Flood. And I remember seeing The Flood. I guess I'll go see that maybe. And then it disappeared. And then it came back as Hard Rain. I'm like, wait, that looks like the same movie that was out last year. I guess that never came out. Pete was talking about Joe Rogan and Alex Jones. Yeah, that episode was insane. Especially the total freak out about halfway through. That was amazing. Good stuff. Yeah, some of the stuff is hit or miss. Like, I don't watch as much of the MMA stuff, but obviously when like Henry Rollins is on, or the James Hetfield one was pretty fascinating, talking about bees and stuff like that. But yeah, I actually like when he has people on he disagrees with, but yeah, good stuff. The Flood. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I was just thinking about the movie the other day. Like, no, I never see that anymore. Like, is that even in print anymore? Like, yeah, it should be, but Godzilla 98 coming to 4K. You know, I would love to start getting my Godzilla collection going strong. That's one of those things I've avoided doing for a long time. Like, since back in the 90s, I always wanted to get bootleg imports of the Japanese Laserdiscs. And then now that I'm collecting Japanese Laserdiscs straight from the tap. Speaking of which, Kobos has a sale going on at the Good Squid Shopify store. I think he's got $10 discs for half off. If there's like a code, find them on Facebook or something, you can find the code. But for like a week or so, while the cherry blossoms are out, I think $10 discs are $5. But I always want, yeah, Moiki, you've confused the hard rain with chain reaction. Me too. But yeah, now that I have access to those, I still might get those boxes. But I was always wary of getting the domestic Godzilla movies because some versions are better than others, and I always knew there was like a high level of research I needed to do before I got the Godzilla movies, or at least the printings that I wanted to get of them. Like I got Godzilla vs. Biollante, the Miramax Dimension Laserdisc, which sucks. I mean, it looks great, but the audio is horrible. And I kind of regretted that, and then I was just like, someday I'm gonna like really do my homework on Godzilla movies. And since then they've all come out on Blu-ray and stuff, and DVD. But even there was a one period I almost pulled the trigger on DVD, but then I was reading they weren't that great, or they were the dubbed ones and all that stuff. So I want some like really quality original Japanese subtitled copies of the Godzilla movies. But yeah, I'm just daunted by the amount of research I need to do to make that happen. I like every time I pull the trigger, I get shot in the foot. Like I bought the original Blu-ray of the original Gojira, and it was almost bootleg quality. It was horrible. It was really, really horrible. And then the Criterion one came out after that. I'm like, damn it. Wiki was saying, name a time I went into the movie thinking it would suck and it turned out to be good. There's been a few of those. I'm trying to think of something 90s wise. Like sometimes... Oh man, I go into movies that my wife thinks is gonna suck and ends up being good a lot. But I'm trying to think of one that I was like, this is gonna be a turd. There was something recently that was marketed. Into the Spider-Verse. I thought the marketing really didn't sell it to me at all. I was saying before, I thought it was just gonna be like a Disney XD simulcast in theaters or something like that. It was like down here on my list, and I saw it and I was like, whoa, this is not the movie that I saw advertised. This is way better. Chain Reaction and Deep Impact. So all those movies. Drop Zone, Vertical Limit. Was there ever a DTS LD for Godzilla 98? Not that I know of. That would have been a late release Japanese only title, but I'll look that up. I don't own the Japanese Starship Troopers. Yeah, the US version has rock because it was made by DADC USA. There are good copies out there. I know some people that have good copies. But the gatefolds are always black and white on Japanese discs. We talked about that in, I think, Laser Disco Attack episode when we were talking about like our favorite covers. And it's the weird thing was that the Japanese discs are so lavish and the artwork is so bright and vibrant, and the jackets are made out of great material. But it seemed to be, it wasn't just like a fluke. It was like the status quo that the inner gatefolds were always black and white. It was the thing. Even my stupid expensive The World Is Not Enough Laserdisc, black and white insert in the gatefold. But yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up Starship Troopers. I know there's like that one tiny bit of censorship. The mention of Hiroshima and the classroom was taken out. But then that's about it. I'll still probably try and hunt down a clean domestic copy at some point too. But I love the alternate artwork on the Japanese LD, so I'll definitely grab that. Team Impact had a deep impact on me staying awake. It was a boring snooze. I think Armageddon's so much better. Don't believe Mask. Yeah, I don't love Armageddon either, but it does have zazz. It's a little more vibrant, that's for sure. It'll keep you awake. It was funny, that period, man, in the 90s, where every movie, the big movie of the summer, had two versions of it out. You know, Volcano and Dante's Peak and Armageddon and Deep Impact. Or as Mystery Science Theater 3000 said, D-Pimp Act was the act about pimping. That made it illegal. Who will know about Laserdiscs in 50 years? You got to bury those things in a cave and leave a treasure map. That would be badass. Imagine finding that treasure. That would be pretty cool. Moiki is a Deep Impact supporter. So, good deal. Oh, Mars Attack artwork. The Mars Attack's Japanese artwork is very nice. I like that. Oh, man. I saw somebody was selling Deep Impact recently. I was like, I should probably pick that up finally. There's a couple LD lots for sale nearby. Really bad timing too, because I'm expensing a lot on vinyl this weekend. It would be a good time to go pick up some LDs. And Will Wright's in the house. What's going on, Will? But yeah, there's a couple things, nothing amazing, but the Fudge Gang will find those discs. They will. The Fudge Gang is the best. Oh man. So yeah, I haven't done any Muse references yet. I know Peter's probably not involved tonight, but he'll be watching tomorrow, so I gotta talk about Sony Muse or whatever. But Wiki reminded me of when we did Laserdisc all those years ago, and we were talking about the drama and stuff from the Laserdisc Forever forum on Facebook. And there was some brouhaha over the past week about Muse discs. And it's funny, if you haven't run across them, there's a bunch of videos. Moiki's getting... I have to actually show Moiki's comments because he's being so mean to Armageddon fans. That's awesome. But yeah, there was Muse discs, which was the high definition version of... Well, it was a high definition television format in Japan. And then it was put onto Laserdisc, and there was a variant of Laserdisc that was sold starting in the early 90s. And the players were generally considered, especially the pioneers, the HLD XO and the X9 are considered the best players ever, but they're also considered the best players at playing standard NTSC regular old Laserdisc too. So it was a situation where Peter was selling one of his players and somebody was freaking out on the LDF about it. And it was funny. It was somebody who was trying to support him, but then with a lot of backhanded compliments, etc., like that. And it turned into a big hatred fest, which is pretty funny. But I ended up getting the guy riled up, and I didn't mean to, but I was trying to play devil's advocate about the fact that if it is like the best player ever, like he was trying to say that the people that have those players are trying to turn Laserdisc into something it's not. So that's something we run into a lot in the Laserdisc groups is I enjoy Laserdisc for what it is, which has become the new kind of hipster motto for I wish Laserdisc was VHS. And then I like Laserdisc because it looks crappy, and I like Laserdisc because it's the new VHS. But those players were from the early 90s. So my point was that if you don't want to spend the money on them, that's one thing. But on the other hand, they're no less Laserdisc than your cheap CLD S104. It's still Laserdisc players, and the guy's like, no, it was a different format or whatever like that. And I'm like, well, Muse was, but you do realize that people buy those players because they're the best standard Laserdisc players as well. But yeah, then it turned into a crap show. So, so beware. Those players are stupid expensive, but if you want to get them, go ahead, knock yourself out, man. But it was funny. There's that whole I like Laserdisc for what it is thing going on. It's turning into like a bit of a war. Strictly Sega picked up the Twilight Zone 1985 TV show. Ooh, nice. Storytellers Jim Henson set. I used to like Storytellers too. I was a big fan of the Twilight Zone 80s show. I did used to watch Amazing Stories, and there were some classic Amazing Stories as well, but there was a lot of those. We were talking about this like a week or two ago. A lot of those like kind of short pieces in Twilight Zone. It was like one of the first shows I remember that really got like postmodern. There was a killer one where Rockne O'Bannon, who was one of the writers on the show, played himself having writer's block trying to write an episode of the Twilight Zone TV show. And eventually he started getting haunted by these kind of like terrifying gremlin-esque creatures, kind of like the kind of spectral demonic figures from Ghosts sort of thing. And these things were starting to like take over his life and like destroy his house and everything like that. And he was like wondering what was going on. Like he was already having a hard time with writer's block. What was this going on? And at the end, he's like, well, what do you want from me? And they're like, write about us. And then you see at the end, he starts writing the episode that you've been watching the whole time. It was like blew my mind as a kid. I was like, what? Sam, meet postmodernism. What was the question? Oh, Batman movies having a Fathom event prior to a 4K event. I'll go see the Fathom event of the Batman movies, especially 1 and 2. I saw the first movie in the theaters a couple times in '89. I bought the Sam Hamm script from a comic book convention before the movie came out, so I actually had read the script, and it was the draft with, Moiki says, Laserdiscs is whatever you want it to be. That's right, buddy. It was the draft with Robin in it, which is funny that ended up getting excised. But yeah, I love the first one, but Batman Returns was my jam. I saw that in the theaters opening night and was hooked on it. I saw that a couple more times in the theaters and love it. Love the soundtrack. Everything about it. It's really, really kind of kicked it up to another level for me. So I'd love to see that in the theaters again. We'll still rocking the DVL 700. I've got the DVL 90, the Elite variant, and yeah, man, that people talk crap about DVLs, but those are actually decent players. Like the picture quality was better than I was expecting, because everyone's like, oh, well, you know, it sucks as a DVD player, and it sucks even more as a Laserdisc player, and come to find out, it's not too bad. Pete's saying, oh, the volcano subway scene scared the crap out of me. Yeah, man, it was not a good time to be underground in the 90s between Daylight and that, and there's a few other underground terror scenes. What's going on? Wish is going on. Freezing stream. Yeah, sorry, Will. My internet connection sucks the big one tonight. So, it is what it is. I already rebooted, and it's apparently not deciding to get any better. Yep. I'm dropping frames like crazy. But we'll see what we can do. Star Wars Celebration this weekend. Oh, man. I've heard some tales about that. Good and bad. I was watching Nathan Butler's vlog from a year or two ago talking about, yeah, there's a lot of cons going on with lack of proper, handling, and it's not quite Fire Festival bad, but, just lack of organization, etc. I am really dying to see the Con of Wrath documentary that's been in the works for a long time about that one. I think it was in Houston convention in '82, Star Trek convention, and it was this huge spectacle, song and dance and reenactments of bits of Trek episodes, etc. And like just about everybody involved with the films and the show were there, and then it was just somebody with a vision and without any kind of know-how, and it turned into a nightmare in that it really didn't sell much of anything, but it still actually happened, unlike the Fire Festival. But I would like to check that out. So Marine was saying he's going to hunt down a copy of the Pioneer Special Edition of Platoon. Yeah, that is a very, very tasty set indeed. It's funny, it doesn't have a lot of discs or anything, but it's just kind of, the book itself is amazing. It's set up like Oliver Stone's personal Vietnam scrapbook, and then mixes the shooting script in it. Really, really good. And yeah, it's just, again, Pioneer Special Editions, we're crushing it between that, and I still need to get One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Rambling Rose, maybe not, but Natural Born Killers is another killer, so to speak, title. um, yeah, a lot of late 90s movies used to have slow motion as the frame rate dropping. It's meant to make scenes more intense. Yeah, we're more intense tonight because our frames are dropping. Yeah, add a strobe light. Yeah, you're going to set some yellow strobe lights and get some klaxons going. Going to get Jones the cat and try and blow this ship up. Yeah, I'm a Sisters fan. Actually, I've not seen Sisters. I wanted to. But I hate Obsession because I'm a huge Vertigo fan. And I saw Obsession the first time and I'm like, all right, this is kind of like Vertigo. And I'm like, and the Bernard Herrmann score is pretty much like the Vertigo score. And I watch it, I'm like, all right, well, I know De Palma likes to kind of play with the Hitchcockian vibe a lot, but I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, well, the Lithgow character is clearly going to do this because this is a total ripoff of Vertigo. And I'm like, I don't know, man. People really like Obsession, too. Like, they consider it, like, not just a good De Palma film, but, like, a film of, like, high-quality, highbrow cinema. And I think it is just, like, it's just a loaf. It's like, it's just a ripoff of Vertigo. And, yeah, I just hate it. I mean, it's capable. Everything about it's capable. But, yeah, it just pissed me off. And then, yeah, I guess that's the only one I hate. Black Dahlia started off like as one movie, and then it kind of turned into just this hot, goofy mess. Yeah, that was like the other one I hated was Raising Cain. I was really excited about Raising Cain. Like, I don't know what about like dude snapping kind of movies because that came out. Like eventually Falling Down was the movie that satisfied the itch that I was exciting to see Raising Cain, but yeah, it was just Raising Cain just turned into like such like a pile of twists for the sake of twists, and again, yeah, just going for that Hitchcockian thing. But oh man, I hated that movie. I've never watched it since, so I can't really defend my position on it because I'm like one of those guys. I don't really hold on to what I hated about it. I just want to forget about it and never watch it again. So, yeah. So I've never wanted to visit it back. But yeah, Untouchables I enjoyed. Obviously, Blowout. Shout out to Moikey for hooking me up with that Laserdisc. I enjoyed Mission Impossible, of course, I love. And I know there's some other De Palmas on my love list, but I'm really excited to check out the early De Niro stuff. I actually really like that documentary. That's just a talking head documentary about De Palma. It's on, I know it's on Prime, might be on Netflix as well, and it's just him sitting in a chair, just talking about all his movies all the way through, and it's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I like hearing him talk about the movies that I don't even like really particularly dig. Yeah, I don't know. I dig Scarface. I mean, I remember when it came out, everyone was trash talking it, but my favorite film of all time is not True Lies, it's Vertigo. But True Lies is a cool flick. I am no Wing. I am Gundam Wing. That's what Wing I am. The Interview with the Cop when he was switching personalities. All right, so maybe I'll watch Raising Cain again. I would definitely buy it on Laserdisc if I run across it. Just because I have at least fond memories of the cinema going experience. Yeah, I think I caught it second run. Yeah, anything I saw second run is kind of nostalgic now, just because second run theaters aren't a thing anymore. I really miss the fact that films had prints, kind of forcing that whole kind of structure of a film running through the main cinemas and then going down the line to the cheap 99-cent theaters and all that stuff. And now, the drive-in theaters and everything have, and the cheap second run theaters that I used to go all have the new movies, because it's all digital now, so they can all show it ad infinitum. But so De Palma I'm very hit or miss on, but like I appreciate Body Double is actually like a guilty pleasure. Like the twists the twist at the end there, like, like it gets pretty cheesy, but you know, Frankie Goes to Hollywood stuff in there. Yeah, I don't know. That's a guilty pleasure. But yeah, so I'm definitely hit or miss on De Palma stuff. So I need to watch that box set for sure. Best movie I saw for the first time at a sub-run theater. I'm trying to think, because I actually used to catch a lot of good stuff like that. I just, you know, that was a cool thing. You had that second chance to catch things. Like I saw Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade second run for the first time. Somehow I missed it when it was in first run. Around that same time, License to Kill, saw for the first time second run. What else? There was a whole bunch of stuff in the 90s where I would go and hit those up. But sometimes it would just be to see the films that I loved, you know, again and again. You know, like Cable Guy and Election and stuff like that. But, oh, Freddie's in the house. What's going on, Freddie? We're saying local theaters around you doing the reserve seating more luxury. Have you noticed any problem with that theater setup since then? You know, I've been going back, and it is nice at times because there's the whole scenario where you can run in late and not worry about, you know, your seats or whatever. But it was also nicer when they started doing that with IMAX theaters, because they would actually have an usher, and they're starting to bring that back a little bit, not to the point where the usher would actually bring you up to your seats, but they'll like check it at the door and let you in. But at least there's somebody kind of nearby if there's somebody squatting in your seat. So I do like the idea of being able to run in late, especially having done like press screenings for so many years. There's actually a company that is hired to have a representative there to reserve your seats, and if you're a press, you can run in at like, you know, 6:55 for a 7 o'clock screening and just get ready to rock. So I like having that kind of that experience preserved with the reserve seating. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty good so far. I thought it was going to get a little weird with going with groups of people, because when The Matrix was screening, my parents were like, "Oh, we want to go see The Matrix on Sunday night." I'm like, "Okay." And they bought tickets like that night because my mom was impatient. And then I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm going to get them tomorrow," because I wanted to check with my wife to make sure like she really wanted to go. So I woke up that next morning, and then I had to call my parents because they had bought reserved tickets, and I had to, one, find out where they were sitting, and then two, hope that nobody had already bought the seats next to them already. But it actually worked out pretty smoothly. So it's kind of cool. And then even times like if you are trying to go with friends or whatever, you can be like, "Hey, I'm sitting like row H, seat 12, and, you know, trying to get somewhere near me." So it's possible. But the other interesting kind of byproduct of the whole reserve seating is that it's hard to tell like what's what anymore, because there's sections of the reserved cinema houses that are being taken up by the D box, or I call them the douche box seats. They have D box motion, so they move around a little bit and they rumble like crazy. And usually there's like 2 rows in any given stadium auditorium that are taken up by those guys. But it looks like there's multiple screenings of a movie when you look at the whole lineup, because it looks like there's a D-box screening, and there's like a 2D screening and a 3D. And so sometimes like 2 or those screenings are the same screening. It's just they list them separately. And when you go to buy tickets, it looks like you're in the front row of, you know, the auditorium, the stadium section, but you're not seeing the 2 or 3 rows of D-box seats in front of you. But they're not representing those at all. And when you go to pick up, see if I can. I think I'm reconnected. Let's see. Man, tonight has been bad streaming. Looks like I'm forever touching my glasses. Anyways, I don't know if you lost any of that, but yeah, sorry guys, I froze. But yeah, if everybody's sitting in the D-box theater seats, then the entire stadium rumbles like crazy. So yeah, it's okay. Like, I don't mind it that much, but yes, thank you. The Insider from Michael Mann, I missed that in the theaters, and it must have been timing, because Yeah, must have been timing because I usually go see every Michael Mann movie in the theater. Though I didn't see Black Hat in the theater. Oh, we're still freezing? Arg. Let's see how we're doing over here. Sorry, guys. Tonight's live stream is more like live freeze. I don't know what's going on with the squirrels tonight. They are running at low speed. But yeah, The Insider was a really, really intense film. The first time I saw it was on DVD. And I would like to get that on... Melinda's got the Wheel of Death. Sorry. I would like to get that on Blu-ray. I'm trying to pick up everything that I had on DVD on Blu-ray. And Michael Mann, I've got Thief. Obviously, I've got The Keep on Laserdisc. I've got the new Heat director's cut. Yeah, sorry, Freddie. Everything is... my connection's really bad tonight, too, so everybody's experiencing total trash cinema. But yeah, I got Manhunter, Scream Factory. I got The Last of the Mohicans, director's cut, part 5. I don't have Ollie. I need to get that. I got Collateral. Yeah, I got a big pile of them on Blu-ray. I got Black Hat, Miami Vice. I am such a Miami Vice fan. I think that's like one of his most underrated flicks. Public Enemies. I got that. Does Heat add much to the study of a criminal over thief? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do think so. I think Heat really, and it's not just a criminal study. Heat is like obsessed with the balance of how much it's a relationship movie. It's a study of the criminal mentality and the mentality of being a police officer and detective, and how similar they are into the damage it does to interpersonal relationships, and how obsessed you need to be in order to do your job well. So it's a little bit, different. It's not too far off from Bullet. There was like a smaller portion of it, like what was going on with his relationship in there. But Heat is like really about the duality of that, and the dedication to the craft, and how much that takes a toll on you as a person trying to live in a world with other people. Which horror movie to enhance by watching on VHS? That's a tough one. I've kind of gone back and forth on that over the years. I mean, Evil Dead, possibly. But I mean, I do love watching Evil Dead on Laserdisc as well, and Blu-ray. But I did really enjoy watching a murky bootleg cut of the Army of Darkness director's cut on VHS. And that was, it was a really fun experience. I mean, though I still love watching Army of Darkness looking great, but that kind of made it more in line with the old murky VHS copy I had seen of Evil Dead. I remember the first time I rented Evil Dead, like, I really don't remember seeing much of it. It just looked like a big murky mess, which is funny. And then I got the later Anchor Bay VHS, and I was like, holy crap, this is like a revelation. I never knew this movie looked good. So yeah, watching that bootleg of Army of Darkness made it look like, watching Evil Dead on VHS. So that would probably be my go-to one. I wouldn't mind watching Return of the Living Dead on VHS at any given moment. That said, I still love the Scream Factory version. But yeah, those two for sure. Oh, Kyle lost my... Oh, sorry, you lost the Heat answer. All right, hopefully it got preserved in the overall version. Pete was saying the Criterion LD of Ghostbusters. For an older release, it's actually strikingly good. The Ghostbusters LD looks great. I was surprised because 80s transfers are kind of hit or miss, but that one was really nice. I was impressed with that. Will's out. Yeah, sorry about the craptastic stream quality tonight. Sorry to everybody for it. I used to think Thursdays were a little bit better for some reason, but that was probably just magical thinking. But, I mean, I've had like 3 or 4 where it's gone reasonably well. So, the odds are kind of in our favor, I guess. Yeah, I'm running red again. Terminator looks gritty on VHS. Yeah. Terminator, I had that on... I eventually got it on VHS, like from the rental copy, but originally I just, taped it off of... on like HBO or something for a while. Will ran the Army of Darkness 35 print at the THX house back in the day. Damn. Yeah, man, I was pumped for Army of Darkness to come out. They marketed that thing like a son of a bitch, and they had like Metallica on the trailer and everything like that. And that was another one. I got the script. I bought it illegally from a place that used to illegally sell scripts in Boston. So I had read the script like 2 or 3 times by the time I saw it in the theater. I remember being crushed that the ending was changed. And that kind of led to my one-man journey to somehow see the original ending of it. And I was obsessed with that for a while until I finally got Captain Supermarket on Laserdiscs. But yeah, I remember going to see it, Army of Darkness, with my buddy, and I was so into Evil Dead 2 that it was like total mecca moment. And yeah, I didn't get to see it that many times in the theaters, actually. I think it came through pretty quick. But Metallica movie, I've seen the obviously the documentary movie, Some Kind of Monster. Saw that in the theaters. And then I did watch Through the Never. I was really impressed with Through the Never. That was another movie talking about movies that I didn't think it was going to suck, but I wasn't quite entirely sold on it. I'm not always in love with like rock opera type things, and mixing music with the musical kind of element, the mix with the drama. But it was just a really weird kind of movie, and if you haven't heard about it, it's a Metallica concert filmed, I think it was in Canada, going on concurrently with this story of a roadie played by Dane DeHaan, who is sent on this mission with this MacGuffin to like get this bag or something that the roadies need. Looks like I'm spinning again. But along the way, it just gets weird. Like, that's the thing about it. It's kind of up there with Pink Floyd The Wall and things that, it's definitely worth watching. Like these kind of surreal moments keep happening. There's some really kind of haunting imagery with the streets all blocked off and some really strange stuff going on. And it's really abstract. And I liked it a lot. I was really surprised how much I liked it. I was really impressed in the sound quality when I saw it in, there was a theater in Plainville, Connecticut that wasn't quite like an IMAX theater, but it was close. It was huge. And I remember the bass thump was almost identical to a live Metallica show, because I've seen Metallica a number of times, and there's like an actual like thump you can feel in your sternum when the bass is going. And I was like, holy crap, they actually, it was probably the loudest cinema experience I've ever had. I was like, they actually got the sound of the concert in this room. Really impressive. It was so loud. It was like, a stadium show in a movie theater. So I actually recommend checking it out especially if you're a Metallica fan. So, like Interstellar 555. I need to own a copy of that. I think I saw somebody else's copy at one point, but I don't own that. I need to get that. I do have the blue LD of Evil Dead. Let me see if I can find it. The Elite one. That's right. Oh, you're talking about not the blue cover. You're talking about the Herald Videogram one, the Japanese one with the blue color timing, probably. Yeah. Everybody goes on and on about that that pressing, but I don't know how much of it is based on reality and how much of it is based on what other people say that is being parroted. I don't know if that blue color timing is any more faithful to theatrical prints of Evil Dead, because I've never actually seen the original Evil Dead theatrically, unfortunately. Sam Raimi was not involved in that transfer. And Herald Videogram Japanese transfers usually suck. So the fact that it looks so different than like the Elite versions and stuff, like I wouldn't necessarily think that's a good idea, because like my Herald Videogram version of Never Say Never Again is really fascinating, but it's an atrocity. So I would suggest, I mean, the other cool interesting thing about that Japanese LD is that it is a little bit wider. It's got a little bit more of the film frame going on than a lot of the other transfers. But yeah, I'm not sure. But oh yes, everybody always says LD looks more filmic. Yeah, there's a line in the sand where I get close to it. The people that do say LD looks more cinematic than DVD, talking about, it's usually talking about the lack of, you know, things like mosquito noise and lack of banding, any kind of gradations, macro blocking, and all that stuff. And the fact that, like, as you approach black, you don't get those, you know, nasty bits where digital video doesn't know what to do with like deep shades of black if the bit rate is high enough. So you have in analog video, you have that, you know, where like the kind of gradations of black are a little bit more natural. That said, you know, it depends on how good the you know, the NTSC transfer is, that, you know, if you actually get the benefits of that, or if it just turns into a big hot murky mess. But the other thing is, I've heard people say, which is where I don't necessarily have the same experience, they say that analog video is layered, and that the layered look looks cinematic. I don't really necessarily see that. I mean, there's been some, like I've mentioned in a couple of videos before, like I've had some moments watching on my projector that have felt like I'm in a cinema. Like a lot of times when I'm watching like Arrow video releases late at night, I feel like I rolled up to an art house theater, I paid some money, I walked in, sat down, and nobody else showed up but me. And it feels, it's very cinematic. I mean, my most cinematic home video moments have usually been Blu-ray and sometimes DVD. Watch Le Dernier Combat, the Luc Besson movie on DVD, was like, holy cow. Let's see. I think we were connected. But yeah, like We Are the Flesh, like it never lost the gradations of black and the shadow detail as it was going down. Really, really great stuff. But there's been moments watching on my projector, usually watching Laserdisc, where like skies, like colorful skies and everything like that, have like a cinematic look. Well, the other thing, strictly sake, it was the same reason people say Sony players suck. They read it somewhere and parrot it with no evidence. There's a lot of that going on in the LD community. There's a lot of old threads with some like legit information on LDDB forums that get parroted ad infinitum. But yeah, there's usually certain things that become the thing, and then it kind of runs its course, and then sometimes people forget about them, and then it kind of like the cycle picks up again like a year later. So it's really funny. So there's this like kind of never-ending cycle of parroting things. So yeah, there was the period when nowadays like people like the good Panasonic players that are good Panasonic players, but there was a period when people wouldn't even touch them, because they're not Pioneer or whatever like that. So but then they become more accepted. But it's just funny how like people keep seeing the same threads that have been archived from ages ago on the LDDB forums, and stuff like ends up becoming the thing you say without any kind of practical experience. But yeah, I mean, watching Blade Runner has been on Blu-ray has been pretty theatrical. So yeah, the kind of layered aspect of it, yeah, I can't really say it's more filmic, but I mean, a lot of people feel that way. So I think some people are saying it to jump on an analog bandwagon, but I think some people are actually seeing something that I'm not seeing. So Pete was also saying, it kind of baffles me that AC3 LD would sound better than a DVD. Yeah, and again, it's a weird thing. 3 is kind of magical in a sense that the bit rate is like really, it's really like beefy and capable, even at such a low bit rate. Like it's very deft, and like what's technologies you think would not age well, like MP3s, like low bitrate MP3s sound horrible to me. It sounds like aliens have reconstructed music from like years in the future, and yeah, it just loses so much. But yeah, AC3 is a really kind of hearty uh, coding, and even the low bitrate Laserdiscs are essentially, not any worse than the theatrical AC3 5.1. So even when they were throwing a bigger bit rate on DVD, like, it was good enough for the theaters. Like, it's good enough for LD. And so, yeah, and you weren't getting as many near field mixes. We'll go back and forth as to that. I know they drive Andy Summers in particular crazy near field mixes. But, yeah, some people say they want the impact of the theatrical mix and all of the dynamic range it brings, even if it was designed for speakers that were going to be very, very far from you, the viewer, as opposed to your home theater where your speakers are a lot closer to you. But yeah, so it is possible. Strictly Sega talking about the top 10 Peter made a lot to my LD friends has become the new 10 Commandments. Yeah, and that's the thing too. And I think Peter would probably be the first guy to we're reconnected. Peter would probably be the first guy to say, the same thing is like, check it out for yourself, because just because he loves it doesn't mean that necessarily, though that's like his findings, doesn't mean that everybody else is going to have the exact same results. Like, you might enjoy a player that he didn't rate that highly. And that's like one of the things Peter gets crap a lot of times for all sorts of things, and just for the ability to buy multiple Muse players and things like that. That people feel the need to excoriate him publicly. But he actually gets all this stuff. Like, he actually and takes the time to do all these comparisons and hook them up in different ways and do all these shootouts and stuff like that. Like, he's had practical experience with so many players. It's crazy the amount of players, cheap end, because I mean, there's always something that you hear about, like the pure analog players, like the lower end single-sided Pioneers and the Philips pure analog players. Like, he went down that road. He picked up those players and tried them out in all sorts of different combinations. He's tried DVLs. He's tried mid-grade players and everything. So, like, he's actually done the research. So, I mean, in that regard, that his top 10 list is, obviously still subjective, but it's based on a lot of, elbow grease and actually checking these things out firsthand. So, yeah, it's nuts. Not strictly Sega. My friend's been spending thousands of dollars on players from Japan. It's been crazy, and the players are jacking up. I mean, once the word gets out on something, it's like wildfire. So yeah, Peter keeps discovering these like little niche pockets of LD collecting and these players that aren't exactly the ones that everyone's clamoring for, and then not everyone's clamoring for them, and it turns into a thing. But yeah, it's funny how the player market is just bouncing up like crazy. I keep noticing the other cool boutique players that I always wanted to get are starting to get priced out of my zone, which is too bad. People are wanting like HLD XO amounts of money for players that aren't really in that category, and yeah, it's too bad. I mean, I guess I should be happy I have a CLD 99. Those things are getting stupid expensive now. All right, I think I'm back in. Ugh. Sorry, guys. This is like the craptasticest live stream ever. But yeah, there's that whole weird mix of what the people that are making this stuff think about it versus what the people that use it, the end users, are. There was a documentary I saw recently about cassettes that was a mix of people that made cassettes, made mixtapes, grew up listening to cassettes, grew up making cassettes, and then bouncing that against one of the gentlemen who invented the compact cassette for Philips in the Netherlands, and how he like had no connection at all to cassettes when they died. Like compact disc was better. Like, and he was just like, that's fine, kick it to the curb. And I've heard the same thing from telecine operators that had worked on Laserdiscs. Then they worked on, they've got knowledge of all this killer stuff that Laserdisc fans would love to know, but they don't want to talk about it because to them it's completely pointless. Not only did the video delivery system get better, but the actual, you know, telecine like operations got better. So the transfer they could make now, if Laserdisc existed now, the transfers they could make now, he was saying, would be better, and they'd be the best thing you'd ever see on Laserdisc, which, you know, does bear some fruit. I remember seeing the Titanic Laserdisc and thinking, oh, it's kind of a bummer that this is the end of LD's life because these transfers keep getting better and better and better. You know, that said, there would have probably been, you know, a big period of major edge enhancement and stuff like that. There's always some downsides to the advances, but it's funny how completely like disconnected the people that create these things are to them in terms of, you know, the ravages of time and how things march on and better technology comes out. And I've heard the same thing with CD versus vinyl, is that a lot of vinyl engineers, vinyl guys that mastered for vinyl, like they were so happy that CD took off because, you know, they loved the sound quality and everything, and they hated every aspect of vinyl and the, you know, the foibles and the quirks and everything like that. And I was just talking with my dad about that recently. I was thanking him for giving me all his like Robin Trower vinyl and his Clash vinyl, and he was like, oh, good riddance. Like, he also he was happy to get rid of CDs. He wanted to go MP3. He went MP3 when MP3 sounded like complete garbage. And yeah, he never looked back, and he hates collecting things and physical things, and so we're kind of like opposite ends of the spectrum on that phrase. So yeah, I was like, oh, thanks, man. You gave me this treasure trove of Ramones albums and Dead Kennedys albums, and I'm like, thanks, man. Like, my life is actively better because of this stuff. And he's like, you know, good riddance. Like, it is. He's like, I'll never ever want to do that again and deal with the inconvenience of it and everything. And then you have the kind of hipster crew coming in, kind of proselytizing and vinyl, talking about the kind of ritual of it being this amazing thing. And as much as I hate to say it, like it is like the ritual of vinyl is kind of part of it. You're interacting with it on a level. So yeah, the end user kind of experience is so far disconnected with the experience of the people that worked hard to actually create these things, and they're very unsentimental about it, and are, you know, have no qualms about kicking it to the curb at all. But yeah, I mean, there's something about vinyl, even if it's technically inferior. You know, the nature of the grooves being technically inferior at recreating a master. Like, there's something about the experience. There's the byproduct, the warmth, the byproduct of it that is just, yeah, it's just a thing. So as I've gotten kind of more back into vinyl, it's, and, you know, Laserdisc still has its own thing. You know, it's a very kind of similar thing. Laserdisc is a different beast than vinyl for sure, but yeah, it's interesting how that works. I hate edge enhancement the same way Sean hates floating heads. He does hate him some floating heads. Yeah, Strictly Sega was saying some of these players take you back when you would go check out home theater stores. Yeah, I was really bummed when the like Sears near me. Oh, it looks like I'm crapping out again. I was disappointed when the Sears near me like finally like hollowed out its all like old home theater section. And there was a period when it was just like a bunch of like random flat screens on the wall or something. But there was that magic to the old home theater stores and the home theater rooms you would go to in these places, and just, yeah, like, whoa. And I remember seeing, like, probably at maybe not Circuit City, but like a Leechmere or something like that, and they would have that room. Sears would have a room with, I remember they would always have those little tiny bows, like kind of super cubes up in the corners. And like they'd have like Steven Spielberg's Always playing on Laserdisc there. I remember maybe even was Circuit City had a room that had all the speakers and everything like that, but they had a Sony dual-sided Laserdisc player playing Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it wasn't the actual Bram Stoker's Dracula LD release, but it was like a demo disc, because it was just like the big finale where they're chasing down Dracula's coach in their coach when he's heading back to Transylvania. And I just remember being in that room and hearing the surround sound and everything. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, that there's an energy there that can't be recreated without interacting with the players and the software. Strictly Sega was noticing a hipster group coming in when it comes to particular movie sales. There's definitely going to be more of the more of the kind of garbage movies where it's like, like Damatari from Zoolander 2, where he's like, it sucks, it's awesome, like the movies everybody hates. Then now, like, if they're crappy enough that they're cool enough for the hipsters, like that stuff's gonna pick up like crazy. All right, we got some shout outs. This is DVD. The picture is twice as sharp as VHS. Spin it or die. Good times. That was going out to Pete. They put AC/DC Live when DVD was brand new, and oh man, I can only imagine hearing that with some like killer speakers, like a bunch of Paradigm speakers going and bumping, like a nice subwoofer. Pff, dude, yeah, I used to love hanging out of those rooms. And then now it's like, I don't know. It's funny because I go and I see all these killer flat screen HD TVs and stuff on the wall, but like there's like really good 4K sets in like Walmart now. Like the magic of that experience is diminished greatly. There was something to going into like those tweeters and the crazy Eddies around me and the old Circuit Cities and hanging out there. Yeah, killer stuff. And yeah, that kind of taps back to the if I'm not dead, let's see if I'm alive. Let's see what's going on in my transmission studio. No, I'm streaming. I'm just dropping frames like a bad boy. But I was talking about being disappointed with the whole kind of lack of history of video rental shops in my state. Like, I was really surprised that if I Googled like a certain franchise or something like that, I really assumed that there was going to be something akin to Cinema Treasures, which has like really good kind of a database of all the old defunct movie theaters that just about in every state. And there's usually like user-generated photographs and stuff like that on there. And there's nothing like that for like video stores. And it's a bummer. And it's funny too, I was trying to think, I was doing a video once and I wanted to use the Saturday Matinee logo. And like there was nothing about Saturday Matinee, like even the bigger like mall stores and stuff like that. And I'm like, holy crap, like is Suncoast going to be completely forgotten at some point? I was like, damn. Strictly Sega, the old net, theoldnet.com. I mentioned it before. All right. I will check it out. Oh yeah, so it's kind of like I've gone to the Wayback Machine before, but yeah, I'm still worried about like some stuff that didn't even make the internet ever, like some of like the 80s stuff going on. Yeah, we'll see. I'd love to find some, more stories and stuff like that of the whole 80s, VHS stores boom and everything, and what was going on in my state. Why does 90s everything have so much charm? I don't know, man. It kind of does. 80s does too in its own way. But yeah, 90s for me, like the whole kind of golden era of Laserdiscs and everything is like kind of at the heart of it. But there was some cool stuff going on. It was interesting. Music was changing and kind of finding its footing, and there was some kind of crappy parts to that too as well. But yeah, there was some really, man, especially early 90s and stuff like that. There was also a period when I had a little bit more disposable income. Yeah. So that goes a long way. So it's kind of, creating more memories because I was able to create my own memories without relying on my parents. Let's see. Space Jam website is still on. Yeah, man, you can't take down the Space Jam. Whereas, ScarJo was saying the Space Jam. Did anybody watch Scarlett Johansson on Hot Ones today? It was pretty funny. She made it through. Spoiler alert, but it was pretty good. But yeah, it's true. There is going to be like some internet stuff that disappears altogether. I do love the Google Books has a capture of old Billboard magazines. There's a lot of great Laserdisc stuff in those. It's cool seeing a timely kind of attitude about Laserdiscs and what was going on and what was hot and what was not and all that stuff. Strawberries was pretty good too. Garrick27 was saying no one remembers some of those places anymore. Yeah, Strawberries was, man, I actually just found, damn, I left it downstairs. I actually found the handwritten receipt from Strawberries, probably in Bloomfield, Connecticut, from when probably my dad bought our tickets for my first ever concert. It was Oingo Boingo in 1987. And yeah, I actually found the original receipt from Strawberries. Because yeah, they used to sell tickets. It was like a bit bittersweet because there was a local music shop, like one owner, not a franchise, called Manny's Music Mart. And he would be the guy hustling tickets, selling vinyl, and also selling music instruments. And he was forced into retirement by the mall by jacking up his rent so they could kick him out, and they wanted to get that sweet Strawberries money and put it in there. So there was like a hot minute when I was trying to boycott Strawberries, but that didn't really last too long. And yeah, I spent way too much money on vinyl and CDs and everything in Strawberries. And they actually stocked a decent amount of Laserdiscs. I bought a lot of LDs and Strawberries, especially there was one out in Avon, Connecticut that had a pretty decent stock. So I bought like Big Trouble in Little China there. I bought Yes Years. I bought Pink Floyd Pulse, the U2 Zoo TV. Dream Lover I bought there. Casablanca box set I bought there. Yeah, Strawberries was my jam. Speaking of my jam, yeah, Space Jam. Yeah, all right. I've never seen Space Jam. Never seen Space Jam. You know what it was? It was exactly like the Into the Spider-Verse thing. I didn't like the cell. I didn't like the shading, the realistic, because it wasn't just typical cells. It was they had to make the cells look like they would interact with the real live footage. So it's almost like the same thing. Like I can't stand Western animation that apes Japanese animation. It just like irks me. So I also don't like that. And it was kind of like they were going for like a Roger Rabbit-esque stuff. Roger Rabbit pulled it off for me, but there was something about Space Jam like I just couldn't stand the shading, like the realistic shading. And yeah, I didn't want to go see it because of it. So someday I'll watch it. And it was just like one of those things where you're just like, ugh, I just cringe when I just thought about it. And then I was like, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure it's a fun movie and everything like that. So, but speaking of Oingo Boingo, Weird Science is an awesome movie. Weird Science, I need to get that on Blu-ray because that is awesome. That's another movie that I thought was going to be crap. And it is crap in some regards, but was completely blown away with when I saw it on cable at how fun and infectious it is. Like, there's a whole bunch of nonsense in that movie that really makes absolutely no sense. Like, the quote-unquote science of it is just ridiculous. Even as a teen or whatever I probably was when I saw that, like, someone was really just pushing it too far. It was like, clearly they're like, we don't know how these guys are gonna make this hot chick, so we were just gonna put whatever nonsense we can in as quickly edited as possible and just hope like this total BS, the wackiness of it will carry you through to Kelly LeBrock appearing, and then you'll just believe that it happened. Like, yeah, like they're like draining all the energy in the town. Like some girl's dog is on the ceiling, and like it's just nonsense. So it's like none of that stuff like holds up even remotely. But the vibe, the main actors just kicked ass. Like it was, and then Kelly LeBrock talking about the candle wax on the nipples and whips, chips, stains, and dips, and yeah, some of it was kind of hit or miss. Like like Anthony Michael Hall trying to be a blues man was like on the line and stuff, but Michael Berryman showing up in there, kick ass. Well, I was talking about my dad about like Bill Paxton's Chet was like the epitome of your friend's older brother that hated you and his younger brother for no reason other than you existed. Like Chet was that guy, knocked it out of the park. And yeah, the music was killer. Tenderness, love that song. That's on the soundtrack. I got the LP kicking around. 80s by Killing Joke. Pff, dude, that song rules. Yeah, love that flick. Michael Berryman doesn't want to lose his teaching job. Yeah, I need to get that. I haven't seen that in a while. I was having a blast watching the Bill and Ted's movies again. And yeah, I want to watch Weird Science. Me and my cousin were obsessed with the line about Gary floating an air biscuit. Gary's just floating an air biscuit. Yeah, Bill Paxton, game over. Yeah. Man, Hudson was so iconic. I used to love watching Aliens over and over again because Hudson kind of became more of an interesting character like later on, because at first you're just like latching onto the one-liners, and like Hudson is this like, it's great because he becomes this, he starts off as this this braggart. He's like totally over the top. Strictly Say, I pissed his pants. Are you happy now? I pissed my pants. But yeah, he was this braggart, whap, this thing's got nukes, sharp sticks, and he's like always kind of overcompensating for just how damn scared he is. And then when they get down there, he's just like so scared that he becomes like this blob of goo, and then he turns it around and he goes out like such a total badass. And it's like so cool that like the arc of Hudson goes like from up here and drops down, and then he goes up higher than ever and like becomes the badass that he kind of like said he was in the beginning but actually wasn't. And I just love it. I love the characters in that movie. And yeah, Bill Paxton, the original beginning in Terminator, classic stuff. That was probably the first thing I ever saw him in. I'm thinking maybe. Yeah, good stuff. I remember when James Cameron wanted him to play Spider-Man in James Cameron's Spider-Man. That never happened. But yeah, True Lies, classic stuff. The car ride with Schwarzenegger's classic. And I got a little dick. Yeah, this does indeed need to come to 4K. Yeah, we'll see if it goes green, if it goes teal. It might, but yeah, I still watch my box set on a fairly regular basis, and it actually looks good when you scale that thing up. It looks good, as even the original DVD, which was the non-anamorphic transfer, looked good scaled up. So it does zoom well. I mean, you're losing detail and everything like that, but it's watchable for sure. But yeah, I'd love to see an extended edition in 4K for sure, because that's the only edition. I mean, I saw it in the theaters a couple times, but yeah, at least True Lies has an anamorphic DVD, right? Actually, I don't even own, but I still watch that on Laserdisc pretty much exclusively. But yeah, I know, Strange Days, like there's that German Blu-ray, but Strange Days was only on non-anamorphic Fox DVD for the longest time too. It's like, come on, man, get with it with the Cameron movies. It's like Cameron meant so much to LD, and like Cameron and LD were like tied at the waist, and then it's been so weak sauce ever since then. Oh man. Oh, Strictly Sega's got a DTS True Lies. Yeah, I'd love to actually take that for a spin. I just have the Dolby Digital, which is badass enough. I just remember the PCM track on that kicking my ass. It was the first first Laserdisc I had that like bottomed out the bass of my woofers, because I was rocking my old Advent Prodigy towers, which were pretty actually like extended pretty well. Like those are actually decent speakers, the like Jensen era Advents, and I never had a problem with I would crank the crap out of my movies. And I think at the time I didn't even have ProLogic or anything. I think it was kicking a stereo JVC receiver that had like, you know, double output, so I could rock like rear speakers and front speakers, but it was, you know, it wasn't surround sound, it was just dual stereo. But I used to crank the crap out of the, you know, Jurassic Park and The Crow and everything like that. And I remember True Lies came out, and I was like intrigued by AC3, but I didn't, you know, have the dough right away to get a new receiver, and I didn't have the dough to get a new player and everything like that. So I got True Lies and put in the PCM track. And when they get to the bit where, you know, she gets captured with Bill Paxton, then the helicopter drops down, and like, yeah, the SWAT team rolls in, there was just this low frequency that just like just crapped out my speaker. I'm like, holy crap. So I actually went and picked up one of those cheap Radio Shack subs that Home Theater and Technology magazine, I think, was it Corey? What was his? Was it Corey? I can't remember his. I was Brent Butterworth was the editor, and I can remember the guy that was doing the piece about, you know, cheap gear or whatever. But he actually recommended the Radio Shack subs. I bought 2 of them. They had a horribly high crossover, which sucked. But yeah, it actually gave a little bit of a oomph. They actually sound pretty decent if you get one of those. I got like a Parts Express standalone plate amp and just kind of hooked that up to it, and actually got some beef out of it. I know some people like to mix it up and change out some of the change the crossover and load it up with foam and stuff like that, but it's gonna be a fun project. I still have both of mine in a closet somewhere, but yeah, I figured I'd go stereo with those suckers. I'd have one for each speaker, and yeah, good stuff. Can you split the subwoofer out and put a second sub in? Yeah, I think, yeah, you can split the signal if you want. I've actually got two sub outs in on the back of my Rotel, so I've actually got a stereo sub signal going to my one subwoofer. I don't really need to. You can just send the one out, but I used to run, because my old Rotel receiver didn't have, it came out when DTS just first got added to AVRs, and it didn't have proper bass management. You could only select large speakers for DTS, period. And I didn't have like speakers that extended below, you know, I don't know, 60 hertz or something like that. So I didn't have, like, I was losing all that low end. So what I did was they had main outs or pre-outs and the main ins. So I would actually send the pre-out in stereo to the subwoofer in, and I would set the crossover to like 80 hertz, and then I would send that back out from the subwoofer back into the main ends in the receiver, and then the receiver was receiving it, you know, as something else, but it was just receiving the filtered high-end stuff above 80 hertz. So I did that for the longest time, and then I switched over to probably around the time I got my Deftex. I just reset up my whole system, and I decided to just use the actual subwoofer out for the first time. And since I had 2 of them, I'm like, yeah, screw it, I'll just run 2 of those guys into the sub. But yeah, I think you could just get like a Y splitter or something if you want to. It's just, you know, the one signal. Yeah, like you said, if they have their own power plugs, if they're each individually powered, you know, they can take the signal. So yeah, you can get a bunch of them if you want. Sometimes you can daisy chain them too. So if you have, depending on what you got on for the if it's a powered sub, or what it's got for the amp, sometimes it'll also send it out, so you could take the signal from the receiver and then just pump it back out from that sub directly into the second sub and keep it daisy chaining in. Throw like 5 of them in the room if you want. Oh, Spencer's in the house. What's going on, homie? Which VHS tape do you think had the best sound? I was trying to think of my favorite sound moment with VHS. We did buy a hi-fi VHS player in the 80s, probably, maybe NEC or something like that, and I would even like tape like audio on there sometimes, because like you could tape 6 hours of audio. If I ever had a party, I would make a mixtape on a VCR tape or VHS tape and just play that back through our hi-fi tape, and then like you wouldn't have to worry about changing CDs or anything like that. You just, you know, get a 6-hour tape and just let that go. And yeah, it used to sound great. But I used to love my RCA home theater VCR. And that's when I did a lot of my most like surround sound listening on VHS. So I'm trying to think if there was anything particularly that sounded great, but it was just, I don't know, I just like the kind of overall warm tone it put out. But there was nothing that really stands out as like the biggest, best VHS sound. I mean, I really I remember enjoying listening to On Her Majesty's Secret Service cranked up on my receiver through that. Yeah, there's probably a couple other things, but most of my big, blockbustery type favorite memories are from Laserdisc. But yeah, what else is going on? Does it sound shit having 2 subs? At the moment, I'm just using the standard THX layout. It depends on your room, for sure. It can help fill if you have, if you get them in those base nodes, right? I'm actually, I've got a pretty modest sized room, so I don't really need to be pushing out that much, and I don't want it to get too boomy, really, and get too muddy and everything like that. I mean, I love having some bass, but I'm kind of almost at that point now where it's nicer to have a balanced sound where the bass really kind of kicks your ass when it needs to, as opposed to all the time. Back in the day, I used to just want to hear it kick my ass all the time. But yeah, if you have a room that has some like dead spots or something, the extra sub can help kind of patch that in. So it might not necessarily always be the best for you, the listener, but it's good for like evening out the sound overall, so that everybody in the room gets a better experience. But let's see what else is going on. Spencer's got the Matrix letterbox tape. Yeah, man, I remember when letterbox and THX tapes was like a thing. It was kind of interesting seeing how VHS was trying to capitalize on some of the things that Laserdisc brought to the table. And there was that period when they were, trying to hustle letterbox copies, and there was the Fox in particular had the THX letterboxed Independence Day and all that stuff, and they would sometimes even throw special features on at the end of them. But yeah, VHS looks okay-ish, upscaled. I watched some VHS tapes on my 1080p. It's low resolution, but it looks VHS-esque running through my DVD-O. And I still watch a lot of my older stuff that, homebrewed things when I'm making digital copies through my Panasonic DVD recorder. But yeah, I mean, it's not really anything to write home about, especially if you're going to be watching a letterboxed tape. I'd probably prefer to watch that on CRT TV. But oh yeah, sorry Spencer, my connection is ass-tastic tonight, so I apologize to everybody that was subjected to it. Maybe the replay will be better, we'll see. Hopefully the audio will at least be stable, so maybe the people watching this tomorrow will have better luck. But yeah, it helps you if I have a good player too. Yeah, I've got a JVC SVHS player, which I love. Really, really nice. And sadly, my RCA home theater player died years ago. But yeah, that JVC thing was really nice. I got no qualms about that at all. I'm going to use that until it dies. But yeah, every once in a while. It's funny, I was just thinking about when I was watching Bill and Ted's, well, both of them, but Excellent Adventure. And I remember how blown away I was by how like vibrant the opening with the blues and the golds looked on VHS, and also the opening to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, just like how blue the blue skies were. Like I remember those being some of the earliest images on VHS that I was like this is high end, watching it on my TV, like this is high quality. Like, yeah, the best of the best. But yeah, it was awesome watching Bill and Ted's in the original in 2.35 to 1 for the first time ever, because I'd only seen it in pan and scan for so many years. But I always remembered like watching in the beginning and like thinking, holy crap, this is really high quality stuff. But yeah, I'll still fire up some VHS every once in a while, but most of my watching's Blu-ray, DVD, and Laserdisc. But I try it because usually when I'm watching VHS, I'm trying to make digital copies of all my old nonsense. Like I just did a copy of when my old thrash band played at CBGB in 1992. I wanted to get that before the tapes died, and then I still want to get a lot of old Twin Peaks stuff. I taped everything that was like Twin Peaks related off the air back in the day. Most of it's probably still already on YouTube anyways, but I'm still going to go ahead and make my copies just for posterity's sake. And a couple other random things. I used to tape a lot of like specials on MTV and stuff. Like I just archived Tears for Fears guest VJ thing from maybe 1985-ish. And also a really cool MTV Halloween special they did. I think Anthony Perkins was hosting. And there's some weird stuff on there that I'd totally forgotten about. But also Night Flights. I want to archive some of those, even though I'm pretty sure Night Flight is pretty well available online now anyways. It's the only sad thing about living in the future is that if you can think about something, somebody else already did it 10 years ago. You're like, I've got this cool thing nobody else has seen. If you have a home movie that you made, like, it's already on YouTube, even if you have the original and nobody else has ever seen it. Somehow it's on YouTube. Yeah, I don't have the 4K of Casablanca. Believe it or not, all my Casablanca, I had the DVD, that dual DVD that came out. Warner was doing some nice like kind of slipcover digibook things for a period there, so I got the Citizen Kane one and the Casablanca one, but I sold it. And I've got the Criterion Laserdisc, and I've got the box set Laserdisc, and I just watch that. And I see it in the theater a lot. One of my local art house theaters runs it, usually around Valentine's Day every year. So if I want to go see it, I can usually at least check it out once a year. So yeah, I'm used to watching those. And seeing it in the theater so many times made me realize, like, looked great and all, but I didn't miss too much watching it on Laserdisc, so... But I would like to check it out on 4K for sure. And 86 MTV Video Awards. I have got a lot of the old MTV Music Video Awards. I think I have the one where Andrew Dice Clay started going, well, not off script, but he started doing his shtick with the swears and was never shown that way again. I think I got the one where David Fincher won for maybe like Madonna's Express Yourself. Cool stuff. But yeah, I've got a lot of weird kind of MTV things from around, from scattered throughout the 80s. It's funny because now people that trade, that stuff always want to get the original airings of things, and they want them with the original trailers. And I was so psyched that I had a flying erase head when we got our NEC player that I was like, I'm going to use the crap out of this flying erase head. And my goal was always like to be this video archivist and to get this kind of, studio grade quality copies of things off of TV. So I would, tape mini series and things like that and try and edit the commercials out as perfectly as possible. And like when I would make bootlegs at Laserdisc, I'd try and get the side changes perfect and everything like that. But now it's funny, that's like not what the collectors want. So they want the original airings with all the original commercials and everything like that. So I got a lot of old Robotech episodes that I was probably too arsed. I was probably maybe not even there. I'd set up to record. So I've got a lot of stuff with commercials that I'd set up, maybe by timer. And maybe some like Premiere things here and there, like video premieres, maybe Premiere cable broadcasts and stuff. So I really need to get on the stick and get all that stuff archived. But the Tears for Fears guest feed thing was funny too, because they were at a bar and they wanted to drink, but they were told not to drink by MTV, and they're like always trying to like drink on it. They always have their beers like under the table when they come back to them, and they seem to be really bristling against the structure that MTV was putting on them. It was funny. Vincent Highbrows in town. Well, I subscribe to the Criterion channel. Probably not, only because I already had access to a lot of Criterion stuff when I had Hulu Plus for a while. And I talked about this maybe last week, where I have an illogical connection to physical media, but I have an illogical thing where sometimes when I have access to things intangibly, like I devalue them to the point where, like, even though I should watch them and enjoy them, or if I do watch them, like, I won't enjoy them as much as I would be if I was watching them on a Blu-ray or Laserdisc or something like that. So if I grab Third Man off my shelf, because I got it for $1 and a lot, and I put it on, like, I'm like 100% invested in it. Like, I was just 100% invested in watching, like, Night on Earth. But if it's on Hulu, like, I don't know, there's something about my brain that, like, shuts that switch and it devalues it. Because, I mean, I should have been watching nothing but Criterion stuff when I had Hulu Plus, when it was on there. But I was like, yeah, they don't have the special features, they don't have this, and they don't have that, and like, Criterion for me is just, it's like so innately physical media that like my brain can't contemplate a world where Criterion is a streaming entity. Like, there's like every kind of aspect of what makes Criterion awesome is also tied to the physical media delivery, albeit Blu-ray or DVD or Laserdisc. If they can somehow kind of crack that in the world of streaming, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if they will. So I don't know. How much is it a month? Maybe that'll sway me. Are we connected? We're dropping frames like a bad boy, but I think we're connected. Maybe. You guys are probably getting the circle of death. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe if it's cheap enough. But I'm also like, I just got Shudder. I got Acorn for my wife. Yeah, like Spencer was saying too, Criterion means pulling a title off the shelf and identifying by a spine number. Yeah, it's just like, it feels weird watching a Criterion movie. Like, even though I have access to it, if I have access to it digitally, I would rather wait to get a physical copy of it, even if that means I have to pay for it elsewhere or source it differently. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it doesn't do a free trial to 1,000 titles with extras. And that's the thing. There will be 1,000 titles with extras that I'll never watch because, like, my brain will not allow me to enjoy them, or it will not allow me to generate the enthusiasm to enjoy them. It'll just be 1,000 titles that I'll go, yeah, I should get that on Blu-ray, or yeah, I should get that on Laserdisc or something like that. Yeah, like, I don't know if I can divorce Criterion for physical media. So I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I can't do it, man. All right, Vincent watched 4 movies this week. I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. When I do that too, I don't resent the movies, but I resent the experience somehow. Sometimes when I watch a movie that I know should be something, or if I enjoy it, it should be something that I would want to own. Like, I resent seeing it streaming. It's weird. I don't know what it is. There's some other movies that it doesn't work that way. But if it's something like Criterion worthy, like, I resent that I wasted it seeing it streaming and now I have to go buy it. Like, I should have just owned it and watched it on physical media from the start. It makes no sense, but that's how my brain works. So, so no, I hate your Criterion streaming channel. But yeah, like I mentioned, I just got Shudder recently. I get Acorn every month. I'm going to be getting HBO for a couple months so I can get Game of Thrones and everything like that. So, like, I'm probably not going to be jumping into any more, like, monthly streaming things or something like that. But yeah, like, Scream Factory's also got some stuff I don't bother, like, checking out. Like if Arrow Video had, like, a streaming channel, like, yeah, like, I don't know. They're all about the physicality, for me. I mean, obviously, the films themselves and the mastering work they've done is great and all that stuff. But yeah, I also don't want to see, like, the beginning of my movie, like, try to catch up with I want to see, like, pixels and everything like that, and like, you know, YouTube quality while I'm waiting for the stream to kind of get its sea legs and everything like that. Yeah. Spencer was saying Japanese Blu-ray hard-boiled. Yeah, hard-boiled's like, well, HK cinema in general is like, well, like one, it's like the prints are never in great shape and are never treated that well by the HK studios and everything like that. So there's like a, I don't know, there's like a saturation point almost where I don't know if we'll ever get like really, really high quality, you know, copies of hard boiled or something like that. And then I think, do I need one? Like, am I satisfied with my DVD or my Laserdisc copy? So it's tough. Yeah. Marine, I'm worried about Criterion Channel. They've always been about physical media, the spine, the special features. Yeah, you can't get that with your streaming service. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, it's about that, the item on your shelf, and it's the same thing as having a digital library. It's that I've found, you know, and a lot of people have found this too, like the generation that grew up with, you know, piracy being their go-to thing, and they've had, they didn't have to choose what album by a band they wanted to listen to. They had their entire discography, including all of their singles and every B-side they've ever had, and that's just how it was. But then there became that kind of option paralysis, and when you have the entire library just like intangibly in some sort of library somewhere, like, I don't know, like, I don't think it's the same as if I actually had like Daisuke Beppu's channel. Actually, shout outs to Daisuke, who's just about at, I think, his 1 year anniversary on YouTube. So cheers, congrats. If I had his physical, like, I don't know, there's just, I wouldn't have that same option paralysis. I would like look at all those spines and like I would select the one I wanted to watch that night, and I would feel great about it. But yeah, it's that, I don't know. If I had the entire Criterion collection available digitally, I don't think I would value it as much. But Vincent's streaming some stuff. He watched Magnificent Ambersons, still brilliant, and it made him appreciate the physical copies he owns more. So, and then the 4 he watched he would not own, so it saved him some blind buys. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, pretty sure my position on it is illogical, but so yeah, definitely encourage people that do enjoy Criterion, like, you know, and if it means the fact that you're obviously never going to be able to probably buy all these things, like, if you have access to the stuff, like, yeah, go for it. Yeah, John Woo gets trashed in home video. It's funny, I was just talking about that recently, about how like the old Better Tomorrow movies like would look pretty rough, but then like they'd always have all this unlicensed music and stuff. It was so Wild West, man. So great. It'd be like, wait, am I hearing Peter Gabriel? Like, did he license that? Nope. But I'm so, yeah, I mean, even The Killer is like shredded, but I guess I'm just used to watching that. It's like kind of part of the experience from now on. But it would be a trip to see, like, you know, a really nice copy of, you know, the Better Tomorrow films, and yeah, Hard Boiled and The Killer, etc. Bullet in the Head. But yeah, good times. So yeah, stream that stuff. Get that Criterion channel. But yeah, I'm just gonna move into Daisuke's house. I'm gonna move to Tokyo, and then just room there until I've watched every Criterion title on his shelves, and then move on. And then kind of wander like a masterless samurai from there in search of another library. But I was thinking about doing Spine Complete for Laserdisc, but I don't know like how soon I'm going to be able to accomplish that. I know there was a bunch of guys on Laserdisc forever that were doing this Spine Complete, and it is quite the undertaking. It's going to take quite a few bits of these shelves to make that happen, but yeah, and it might not all be movies that I'm super excited to own, but There'll also be the ones that when I don't love them, I am probably going to be prone to giving them another shot down the line. Like when I watched like Bresson's Pickpocket the first time on DVD, I didn't actually love it, but I would watch that again. But yeah, films like Jean-Pierre Melville's Le Samurai, when I saw that the first time, loved it, like 1,000%. So I would definitely want to own. Yeah, like a Criterion copy of Pickpocket, I would not want to get rid of it because I would give that another shot again, and I'm sure I would see something else in it. You know, usually there's a reason the Criterion Collection selected these things, so even if I didn't quite grok it the first go around, it'll come together for me in the future. So I should probably go to bed, huh? We did manage to do some streaming, believe it or not. My horrible streaming capacity notwithstanding. So many apologies to everybody who had to suffer through the swirling wheel of death. Let's hope that the replay is a little bit smoother. So shout outs to Peter and everybody. Machiwumiupu rolling in. Oh yeah, got some new Laserdisc titles. I know. I really wish Record Store Day wasn't this week. I would go pull the trigger on a couple local Laserdisc lots. Again, nothing great, but there's definitely some like commons that would fill in the gaps. There's actually a few things that, yeah, I got a face tattoo of a wheel. I'm gonna get that permanently tatted. I was gonna go for the Mike Tyson thing, but I'm gonna get a spinning wheel on my face. So, but yeah, there was a couple of local things where I was like, I might pull the trigger on that because everything's been so overpriced lately. Everybody wants 1990s money for their crappy pile of comments. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to drop $5 a disc on a lot. But yeah, no, thanks for powering through, everybody that did power through the stream and braved the spinning wheel of death, the Ouroboros. Peace out, Strictly Sega. Thanks for popping in, Spencer and SF Marine, Pete, of course, and I think Freddie was in the house for a bit. Vincent, Moiki even was in the house for a while. So cheers to everybody for 4K. Cheers to everybody for trying to power through this monstrosity of a live stream. But here's hoping next week will be a little bit better. People seem to love the GTS LDS Casper. Casper was okay. That was like a flick that I wasn't like thinking one way or the other when I went to go see it, and I was like, yeah, it's fun. It's got a lot of charm to it, so I would watch that on DTS. Oh, got the Tron box. Yeah, I really like that Tron box. I was blown away by the picture quality too, because I'd heard about so many of the disastrous transfers of Tron and everything like that, and I thought, oh god, I got this LD box. It's really not going to be that great, but I wanted to get it for the boxness of it and the special features and everything. And then I watched it, and I was like, wow, hot damn, this looks pretty good. And it's like the first side break is amazing. It's like the perfect timing. Yeah, check it out when you watch it. You're like, that like side break was like exactly at the right spot at the right time. Spencer got the Casper Blu-ray for $3 at Target. I know I'm tempted tomorrow to go to Big Lots and go hunting for more cheap Blu-rays, but I should probably, again, save my money for Record Store Day. But there was a couple other things I wanted to pick up, like that X3 double disc. After I watched my X-Men double disc and was like, damn, this thing looks good. And a few other things that were like kicking around on the shelves there. Maybe I still will go and pull the trigger on a few of them. But yeah, so next week I'll have probably some Record Store Day stuff to show off, and maybe a couple. Best side break is Blade Runner CAV for sheer WTF. Yeah, the WTF side breaks for me is tied with Blade Runner and Reservoir Dogs, when they actually break the side in the middle of Nice Guy Eddie, like just talking. It's the worst. It's so horrible. Such a bad side break, which is a bummer. I should get the Japanese LD. I would bet that's got a better side break. Do I have the Japanese? Not enough. I do indeed. right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I should be disappearing. But yeah, picked this up a couple of years ago. And was probably my most expensive Laserdisc. But it was worth it because, you know, James Bond, World's Not Enough on Laserdisc. You gotta get the sucker. Good Squid found this thing for me like immediately. I still can't believe how fast he found it. It was like the item on my wish list that I thought, oh, that's gonna take a long time to get. That'll buy me some time to like save up the dough. And he's like, nope, I found it. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not gonna give up this chance. So yeah, let me get that. But yeah, and then the other my favorite side change, just because I've got it like memorized, is Big Trouble in Little China. And then when I see it in the theater now, I'm like expecting, I actually say side break to my wife. It's like when everybody's at the Wing Kong exchange and Thunder comes out and he's like, perhaps I can help you. And it's like side break. Yeah, I also absolutely love Tron Legacy. That soundtrack. That's actually what track is it? Track 14 off that? My band used that for years as our intro music. I forgot the name of the title of that track, but it's like around the club kind of music stuff. But it's the one with the kind of shepherd tone, like that. And it keeps like escalating, like the backing track. Like, yeah, that thing. It's only like a minute and change, but yeah, I played that. It's that soundtrack so many times that I was like, that would be kick-ass like band opening music. So I use that all the time. But yeah, Tron Legacy was like one of those movies that people complained about the kind of simplicity of it, and that's kind of what I liked about it. I love the whole kind of concept of, you know, the grid dude and the zen of it all, and yeah, I don't know, like the simplicity of it really worked for me, and just the look of it, love that film. Play 9's going to a record store day in Seattle. Oh, nice. Yeah, happy hunting for sure. Hopefully you get some good stuff. Oh, sorry, Spencer. You actually Spencer you borrowed a copy from Peter for a while, didn't you? So you've actually finally been able to watch it though, so that's pretty cool. And but it sucks you had to like return it to the Peter library. Yeah, we'll get you a copy. I know you were trying to get that one that like tapped out, like low hundreds or something like that, which wasn't that bad for an Obi-less copy. So, but yeah, it is like one of those things that it only shows up like a certain amount of times a year, but especially on eBay. There was that one guy that found it in Goodwill for next to nothing. His copy was kind of beat up though, but still, you got it for next to nothing. Watch Your Movie Pooh's going to Record Store Day in Olympia, Washington. Nice. I'm gonna try and get there early-ish, but I'm not gonna do the Ryan Cushing 3 a.m. lineup thing. I'm just gonna get there for opening, and wherever I am in the line, I'm in the line, and I'll get what I get. And then, yeah, maybe I'll hit a couple other stores, because there's a decent amount of stores in my area that actually do Record Store Day. So, I'll do 2 or 3 stores if I have to. But yes, I do not have the Japanese LD box of Godzilla 98 that Shadow Man has. I would love to have that. And I have End of Days. That one's getting out of control lately. What was that one going for, like $400 something now? We were just talking about one of the guys in 4K80i group on Facebook got Existenz for probably a couple $100, I think. I'd really like to have Existenz. I don't like succumb to late release mania for LD, but if it's a movie I love, yeah, like The World Is Not Enough, I had to get Fight Club, obviously, which really wasn't that bad price-wise. That seems to be finally becoming a little rarer. That was like the most common rare disc ever. It seemed like everybody had a copy of Fight Club, but that one's starting to simmer down a little bit. I do want to get Mission Impossible 2. I probably should have bought Peter's version, just because it was the first movie I went on a date with my future wife with. So even though it's my least favorite Mission Impossible movie, I want to get it on LD. And yeah, I'd love to get Existenz for sure. And I still don't have Mystery Men. I wouldn't mind Sleepy Hollow and Bringing Out the Dead. as well, and maybe a few of the other late release Japanese titles. But yeah, I'm cool with missing out on Stigmata and stuff. I got Stigmata on DVD. I'm good. And I think I probably sold my Snapper Case DVD of the Cell. I probably should have held on to that, but whatever. Yeah, the guy who found The World Is Not Enough. Yeah, $2. That was it. And he's like, is this worth money? And we're like, Jesus Christ. This guy. Yeah, he found... Everybody seems to find The Matrix at Goodwill's. I don't know if that's really happening or not, but I can't believe the guy found The World Is Not Enough. Goodwill. Machu Wimby Poo picked up Hellraiser and Evil Dead 2 and Phantasm. Oh, man, the special editions? Nice. I've been in a big Phantasm mood lately after getting that Steelbook, and yeah, I still love my LD copy too. And the Hellraiser is really nice. Did you grab the one with the signed copy of the script and everything? I know there's some that are signed and some that aren't signed. Either way, that box set is badass. Yeah, that guy flipped. Yeah, it was at least 150, wasn't it, for that Goodwill? The World Is Not Enough. He flipped it immediately. Everybody knew it was coming too. Get the original MI2 DVD for 99 cents, and you roughly have the LD. And I have it. I have that original DVD too, and I have it on VHS too. So I've got it. Yeah, so I don't need to spend $350 on it. It's just yeah, if I can get it for a reasonable... Yeah, I'd love to have X-Men, too. And that was like... I know Peter's White Whale for a while was trying to find X-Men on LD. Because, I mean, it's like, who doesn't want X-Men on LD? That's actually a cool title. That's a cool late-release title. And especially having watched the Blu-ray recently, it'd be fun to have that on LD. But that one actually can go for, like, a reasonable amount of money at times. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, yeah. I know Wiki's still looking for U571, or maybe he finally got that one. But, oh yeah, Melinda. Everyone finds Song of the South at Goodwill. Yeah, right? The amount of people that find Song of the South at Goodwill is like, skyrockets. Boy. Yeah, if I'm watching Phantasm again, completely, I refell in love with it. Just because I have so many, like, foggy memories of it. I was talking in one of the previous videos about how I saw that when I was like too young to watch horror movies, and because I had powered through watching Halloween, these kids that used to kind of like not babysit me, but they were like my dad's girlfriend's kids. They would be around. They'd be like, "Oh, this kid loves horror movies," so they put Phantasm on and like left the room, and I watched most of it like this. And so I have these like hazy, foggy memories of it, and yeah, I watched it again on Laserdisc and on DVD and stuff like that. But even now, like, I still don't remember like what was real and what wasn't. And that movie is just as like weird and abstract and dreamlike as my faulty memories had. Yeah, they weren't faulty at all. Like, it really is that way. Do I have Blu-ray? Yeah, I've just got the Phantasm remastered, the Well-Go Steelbook from Best Buy. That's the only one I got. But I don't have any of the sequels or anything like that yet. But I just kicked my ass, like, how much like Phantasm like is still like 1,000% the movie in my brain that I remembered seeing like through my fingers. Like, I can't believe that movie is as weird and dreamlike. It is like one of the best like dreamlike movies ever. Like, capturing just like things change, characters kind of almost change, and like locations kind of change, and like, it's so cool. So yeah, I'm like, been a big Phantasm mood lately. Spencer found Song of the South at the record store and they knew it's worth something. Yeah, we were talking about this recently about record store owners who don't care about what they have, and they don't even bother to price stuff until you pick it up and then take it to the counter, and then they just look at eBay. You have to hang around while they look at eBay and like, yep, I'm gonna want $200 for that, and you're like, yeah, I'm out of here. Good times. The Macross box. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. I've got the Memorial box there. I got the 15th anniversary Memorial box there. I do have, I'll throw the links in below. I've got the videos where I go through and show all those, but they're like scattered update videos. And then down there you can't see, yeah, off screen, I got the Macross Plus box and the Macross the Movie Perfect Edition box. But I show them in like, yeah, random update videos, but I can get the links for them and drop them in tomorrow when this thing actually posts. I love them both. I got to thank the guys at LDF that kind of pulled together, and they actually, like at a crappy time, everything was going crappy. They actually, they bought me that, everyone pulled together and bought me the first Memorial box. So that thing's like near and dear to me. And the 15th anniversary one I got from Kobos for, it's ridiculous. It was like $25 or something like that. And I'm still like vicariously living through the fact that like if I found that at a comic book or sci-fi convention in the you know the 90s or something, like that would have been like $600 or something like that. It would be one of those things I'd see like on a shelf behind the counter. I'd be like, oh my god, and like high five my friends over and like realize I can never ever afford it. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, $25. I'm like, what? It's gorgeous. And like it had every insert and everything like that. And man, cool stuff. It got the first box for $5. Damn. Yeah. The first one is cool too. I love the kind of, you know, hologram cover and all that stuff. And, yeah, the discs, they're essentially the same. Like the transfers look the same. They look, you know, they've got all the weird like splice marks for the edits and all that stuff. I remember Peter was like freaking out about all the weird stuff going on at the top of the frame. But I mean, I don't know. They look good. You know, the colors still look really strong, and I still love watching Macross. I've got the Robotech DVDs, and I've got obviously all the streaming versions of Robotech and Macross on Amazon Prime. But I've got some of the individual LD releases too. But I just love throwing in the box sets on LD and watching them that way. But then yeah, I've got the Animego box front DVD that I waited years and years and years for. That was crazy. That thing was like about $250, $300. And I waited and I waited and waited. That was like the first like kind of Kickstarter-esque event I ever participated in. I was like, I'm gonna sign up for this box. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. And then it actually did happen. I was like, holy crap. So I do love that DVD box too. But said I'm glad you pay $50 for that Macross box. No way, man, I'm keeping it. Like they used to say about Hey Soul Classics. No, my brother, you got to buy your own. Unmade Napoleon by Kubrick says that if it was made, it would have been the greatest movie ever made. Yeah, I'm intrigued by an Unmade Napoleon, but yeah, I don't know much about it really. And yeah, I do love the concept of the movies that never were. I'm so bummed that the Terry Gilliam Man Who Killed Don Quixote was only playing as a one-day only Fathom event. Like I'm like, it was one of those movies that like never was, and it actually finally happened. But then it didn't really get any like real distribution, which is a bummer. But yeah, I'll have to look into that Unmade Napoleon, because there's a few other. Obviously, Jodorowsky's Dune, like one of the great, like I wish I could see the movie that would have been had it have been. And still would have loved to have seen Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. What else? There's a few others. There's some scripts I have that like never got produced that I wish had, because I was like, oh my god, that was great. Even though it's not Stanley Kubrick, but the Dieter movie that Mike Myers wrote and was supposed to make and then kind of crapped out on, is the script is hilarious. I like recite stuff from that script on like a fairly regular basis, and like that would have been an actual funny movie if they made that, but whatever. Machiwumi Fu, studying Japanese, so watches the original Macross. Yeah, I do. I when I used to get a lot of anime back in the day, I studied Japanese, not officially, just from like tapes and all sorts of books and stuff like that. I remember when I was in Japan at the Epcot Center, or not Japan, Japan in Epcot Center, I bought like all the Japanese language books they had available at the little bookstore that was there. Still have those things, and yeah, I do Duolingo all the time just for fun, but like not in any way, shape, or form to the point of like fluency or anything like that, where I can watch a film and understand it. But yeah, I pretty strictly follow a regimen, at least on Duolingo, just to keep going. In fact, yeah, I just missed luckily my streak freeze that I bought will keep me. I just lost my daily because I was doing this live stream for so long. I didn't do my lesson before midnight. But yeah, I know some people that say they've been taking Japanese for so long that they still don't even understand like any given anime release. But it's cool. I just like being able to pick up phrases and words and stuff like that every once in a while. But I'm gonna keep on keeping on. What else is going on here? I should probably go to bed. Yeah, I signed off like 20 minutes ago in my head. Spencer was talking about the downfall of Napoleon as well as the success of Barry Lyndon. Yeah, Barry Lyndon's one of those like love it or hate it Kubrick flicks too. But yeah, talking about Dune, if it had been made, there would have been no Alien, no Blade Runner, and like it is interesting like how Dune really led directly to Alien, and how it was like a kind of like germinating petri dish for Alien. So it is important for that. And like the alternate timeline, would that alternate timeline have been as amazing? Like, would we have lost out on so many other sci-fi movies because of it? Yes, that the fan blowing the stream off course. The stream sucks. Unrealized Hitchcock projects, unrealized Billy Wilder stuff is the Hollywood that never was is pretty fascinating sometimes. But yeah, as usual, things happen for a reason. But there are still some things where I'm like, damn, I really wish I could see that. Or there's some things that would just be interesting. That's why that was kind of cool that they did that Dark Horse Comics adaptation of William Gibson's Alien 3. Like, the script was never that amazing, but it was like, it still would be cool to see it, I still would have loved to have seen the unauthored Lost Boys 2 script. I don't know if Jeffrey Boehm actually did that or if they figured out who did that, but that would have been pretty cool. Mark Frost and David Lynch's One Saliva Bubble would have been a trip to see. That was a crazy ass script, but also like frequently hilarious. Let's see if I'm still streaming. I would love to have seen that. And I know there's a few other. I should do some get some people together and do like a table read. I've been wanting to do that for a while. Of like good like scripts or unproduced scripts or something like that, or even bad unproduced scripts or like weird little oddities like Rob Zombie's Crow movie, something like that. I mean, it still might get taken down because it's somebody's intellectual property, but it would be fun to do like a public reading performance of that stuff. Let's see what else is yeah. Yeah, sorry guys, it's streaming so bad. I might as well just call it. Actually got to go and exit out. So pardon the utter failure that was tonight's live stream. Hopefully the people watching it on the posted version are going to have better luck with it. And hopefully next week won't suck ass. We'll see. Cheers, everybody.